which I have now done. And now I can give you
Yep,
the URL.
I can see live.
There you go. We're live.
Although,
So, if you would like to shill, feel free to shill. There is the
excellent.
there is the link. And for anybody that hasn't, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your it really helps with my numbers. I giggle because the only person I know for certain that actually does watch my channel is Violence is Life, and you know they seem to enjoy the content, and
Are they not subscribed?
I think might be, I don't know. They should be. They must be by now because they actually get my notifications and stuff that we've gone live.
I was actually having a chat with Vil recently. Well, I was having a chat with a variety of people, of whom Vil was one of them,
Okay.
about just the general nature of the D&D setting. And not only does she seem to think that I'm an amazing D&D writer, which was very flattering, but unfortunately I have to think that she's wrong on that. I think I'm average at best. And she just genuinely seems to be absolutely fascinated with the adventure so far. She genuinely seems to enjoy the absolute shenanigans that you guys get up to. Yes, but big overarching storylines are basically what I'm trying to go for with this campaign. You guys have so far managed to hit upon two things that I would consider to be a main storyline that you could progress down. One of which you turned away from, and another which you have not yet turned away from.
Ah, the cockring.
Potentially. I won't say that it's definitely the cock ring, but it could very well be the cock ring. It is, isn't it? Now, speaking of that particular individual, do you recall the approximate information and conversation that you guys exchanged?
I remember his name was Assad. I remember he
Incorrect.
was incorrect.
Incorrect. His name is Bashar.
Bashar. Close. You can see why I got it mixed up, right?
Middle Eastern themes, there's gonna be a lot of A's in there. You just gotta get them in the right places.
Bashar al-Assad is kind of a prominent figure of the last 20 or so years in the Middle East.
Yes.
So yeah, a bit of minor conflation there. So well, anyway, Bashar wants to assist me to assist him getting revenge on someone, because he's now dead and stuck in a ring wrapped around a bard's cock, and is not amazingly happy about it, but is happy to assist me in gaining power and wealth and fame and pussy. Whilst I get vengeance for him. Sort of a quid pro quo kind of scenario.
So you need revenge, not to kill them, but just to get revenge, right?
I mean, yeah.
So we could just massively discredit, defame, and destroy their lives.
You know what? When I kill someone, I always like to do that first anyway, if it's a revenge thing. So, yes. I really... Oh, actually, I don't need a fork. I have a spoon. I have a spoon up here because I have the cat spoon.
Why do you need a fork?
To eat the coleslaw that I've made with the raw cabbage you served me.
Why do you have a sauce of mayonnaise in your computer room?
Pardon?
Why do you have a sauce of mayonnaise in your computer room?
Why doesn't everybody have a sauce of mayonnaise in their computer room?
It's only 28
at the very
degrees up there.
least refrigerated.
It's only 28 degrees in his office. So
I went downstairs, I got some mayonnaise, I came upstairs, I squirted it on the cabbage, and then I took it back downstairs.
Why did you not bring the cabbage downstairs, apply the mayonnaise, and then go back up to save you a trip?
Because I need the exercise. There, argue your way out of that one.
By the way, there
sauce.
are 3 A's in Bashar, if you want to take notes. It's spelled...
I was about to say, where's the double A at the front or the back?
It's not D&D unless it's spelt this way.
Which way? Did you just post something somewhere?
Yes, in the D&D chat room, in the studio on the stream. That is how D&D names are spelt, with as many obnoxious amounts of apostrophes as possible.
No, that's how Elven names are spelled.
Hang on,
It's how fucking Gith names are spelt as well.
We were commenting earlier, actually. We were thinking about how amazing it would be to confuse a Githyanki by getting a name that's not only got more apostrophes than they do, but having 2 in a row with no letters in between. What?
Sauce.
What about sauce?
Chicken cocktail.
Oh, take, have. No, these are perfect.
This stream is off to a damn good start, I must say. That wasn't a joke. This is off to a genuinely good start.
We have to have a bit of this at the start so that we can actually get into Game Awards later on.
Yeah.
Game of words like Fortnite.
Yes.
Yeah, and Minecraft.
And tabletop.
Indeed. And Nigel.
So, one of the important pieces of information that Bashar relayed to you, Trig,
Right.
was that he wanted you to take revenge on his killer. And that in order to do so, you would be required to travel to the Tater, which is on the opposite side of the continent.
Yes. Yes. Many miles away, many towns, many maidens, many cities, many more maidens.
Indeed. Now,
Bobby
there
is
are a
all
couple
for
of
this.
things that are worth noting.
Go on.
You are currently in a settlement known as Donheim.
Mm-hmm.
Donheim comes in 2 parts. 3 parts, technically.
Mm-hmm.
There's the mine side, there's the clean side, and then if you go down the river, there's the Donheim docks.
Down by the river.
Indeed. Now, the Donheim docks, if you remember, I'm pretty sure that the previous campaign that you guys played, the one where you were playing as a drunk monk, did actually spend a short amount of time at the Donheim docks. It is a popular stopping off point on the trade ships that travel between Port Manly, Varpak, Warrenheim, and Ulrenberg.
Did we get that far?
I know we got to the Tater.
I thought we did eventually, but we went basically we got into Metalburn and essentially sort of transported at that point off to my campaign for a bit. I don't remember getting to Arnheim. We were planning on it.
It might have been a different campaign in that case. I've run quite a few campaigns in this setting now. Part of the reason why it feels lived in. But in either case, it would be very easy to acquire information for you guys to be able to figure out that all you would really need to do in order to be able to expedite your adventures would be to find an appropriate boat currently temporarily docked at the Donheim docks and pay to be passengers. There is a regular trade route that goes between Warrenheim and the Tater as part of the Fire Iron Concordat trade routes, which have a regular to and from of ships, which in one direction carry firestone that the tieflings have mined from the elemental plane of fire and transported to this plane of reality, all the way over to Warrenheim, where it's used in the manufacturing of great quantities of metal-based products. And back in the other direction, there are vast quantities of metal-based products that end up getting dropped off over in Port Manly, Verdenfell. Sometimes they go up towards Meadleburn, but ultimately the ships end up taking an empty cargo hold over to the Tater to stock up on Firestone once more. In either case, there is a consistent train of ships going along the coastline. So that is one potential route.
Well, the first thing I heard there is that they're taking a ship on a trade route empty for one leg of the journey, and we own a gold mine. Maybe we can negotiate something there.
I think it does seem like a long way round. It's like a fast travel but slow travel kind of thing. Get on a boat at Donheim and go all the way around the coast, all the way round, up past the Elven Empire into the Tater, when we could just shag our way through every single town and empire, the Empire of Man, the Elven Empire, and just impregnate as many things as we can before getting to the Tater.
If I might propose a route.
Imagine we would run out of, people and things to impregnate on the boat fairly rapidly. But go on.
I'm sure you can be creative.
Okay,
sure.
So,
Woodworm does leave holes.
So here is the proposed route, right? We cut across here, follow the river to Nordshire.
Okay.
And then we follow the mountains around to Meeburn.
Yeah.
And then we go up to Kiesney.
Yes.
And then we turn across towards Montiel. That way, we can either go up to Meergan and through Thiolet into the border, or I think we could come across the border straight down here to Magan Dow, and then both the way across here.
That seems like the more across land. That's the route I was thinking of across land. There are also airships. We did mention before.
Airship is a potential route that you could take. The dwarves mostly use airships for basically airships are basically this setting's version of private jets. It's unlikely that you'd be able to buy one, but you could potentially charter one.
Or we could ride one for free.
As stowaways?
Are you thinking being the hired performance on the airship?
Indeed.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Airships are usually run by the rich and famous, and they do like their bards.
And then when we get bored of it, we can sink the airship and loot the remains.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, they're usually flown and kept powered by very, very expensive stuff that we could nick or just drop.
Kiki, can your illusion spell that you use on the dragon, the bucket spell, could you use that to create an iceberg to spook the airship?
Probably. Our airships immune to psychic damage, though.
Most constructs tend to be immune to psychic damage. In fact, I would say that most things that do not possess the capacity for thought are immune to psychic damage. Which is
even if you really, really persuade them that it's for something else.
Is immune to psychic damage. Wow. What a pointless power. I'm gonna have to give up on psychic damage.
Could you use them as ablative psychic shielding?
Maybe. It would.
But they're not ablative if they're immune to it.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
It's like the classic armor of babies.
I'm not familiar with that. I'm not sure if I want to be.
right. So,
does Donheim have an airship dock?
Oh no.
So we need to have
the locations.
Go on.
I will say, give me a history check.
History check. Hang on.
Given that you are dwarven yourself, I would say that you have advantage.
Oh. Apologies.
Okay. History.
No, any of you can give history checks for this.
22.
You would be aware that within the Dwarven Kingdoms, the only locations that have airship docks are Varpak and Warrenheim. There are others that exist, but they tend to be like private. You can't realistically go there.
Oh, I mean, we just came from Varpak, so I don't see a reason to go back there. I assume Middleburn will have a place to dock.
Yes, so you are quite confident that Middleburn has one, as well as Verdenfell, possibly Port Manorley. For reference, a airship dock is effectively just a very long, thin pole that extends up into the sky with a round disc on the top of it.
Yes.
And airships just kind of...
I remember. And the Middleburn one should have had a couple of tree seeds planted on it from the famous tree mission that we did by a certain Groose whilst he was, generally malingering. I think I also recruited CD into that one as well.
That demo helped.
We planted a load of seeds around that town.
Yes,
Slight aside, I know. But this is what I was referencing. And those suits do actually exist. They are designed for evacuating large amounts of children at once from maternity wards by nurses.
What is this? Where? Hold on.
Where?
Armor of babies in D&D room.
Oh, in the D&D room. Give me a second.
Yes. The D&D room, which... It might be useful if you were to post that stuff into the into the group where we will probably play D&D
Yes,
from now on.
apologies.
How long before a Ginger needs to work out the AC of this armor?
That has quite a low AC, but a huge psychic damage to anybody that actually scores a hit against that person.
As a matter of fact, no. This is an armor that in D&D rule set logic would grant the wearer 1d4 temporary hit points depending on the amount of ablative hits that it still has.
Someone has expressed a fantastic short poem on it. They state that I am feeling so much calmer in my ablative baby armor, taken directly from the creche, shielded from harm by baby flesh. Close the locks, fully sealed, indisposable postpartum shield.
That definitely sounds like something generated by AI.
You know what? A lich wearing armor of babies, yeah, and they're all babies of darkness that he can hurl.
Yes.
Christ.
Oh, I low-key love that. That's fucking brilliant.
Well, for that you'd need you'd need something a little more aggressive.
Why does that image exist?
Oh my god, that's so fucking good.
Okay, you can't just post something like that without it going up on stream. Trig, do the thing.
I'm on it. I'm on the case.
To all those currently watching, which currently I am going to presume is Vil, apologies in advance.
Gaze at the glory that is the armor of babies. And yet that would work really well with the babies of darkness that crawl really slowly until they get close to someone and then just charge and then just latch on and then explode. Dealing necrotic damage. That would be such a good evil armor. Oh my god, I love that. That, you know, some sort of horrific villain that's living inside the maternity ward of a hospital, kind of thing. Brilliant. Very, very Silent Hill vibes.
Known only as the matriarch.
No, the matron. Because let's face it, everybody has to have horrifying nightmares from some sort of encounter with a matron in their history at some point. Certainly, anyone that's been to a boarding school has nightmares of the matron.
All right, well, congratulations, guys. Now there exists somewhere within my D&D setting a Margaret Thatcher-esque character who wears a suit made entirely of undead infants that detonate on impact.
That she can throw. And that can run and crawl. Fantastic. We must find this place. We must find this place and defeat this evil. Or ally with it, depending on, you know, the time of day.
How horrifying. But anyway. Is the is the dashed pink route the one that you guys are going to set off on?
Well, the thing is,
if so,
kind of. But at the present moment, the only person that knows of this mission, technically, is Bobby, Because Bobby hasn't told anybody that his penis is now talking to him. He's not quite sure how to
Indeed.
broach the subject. And currently, our mission before that was to go and do stuff with wyverns and go and see the Dwarven King and various other random nonsense.
Well, I will inform you that in order to visit the Dwarven King, you would have to go to Warrenheim, which you're currently somewhat close to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to follow that route that Kiki has plotted out, it would take you away from the Dwarven King.
It would.
So you are at
Dwarven
somewhat of a
King-
crossroads.
Dwarven King does have airships. You did say that.
He does.
Mhm.
But well, Bobby's going to try and start talking the group into Harry's heard tell of various fame and fortune to be had over in the Tater, and that he's kind of been receiving psychic messages for a while now, informing him of such, and he wants to go there. He thinks it's a good idea to go there. And I think, to be honest, Earth, Wind and Shire could do with travelling as broadly as it can and across as many lands as it can, and visiting as many people and towns as they can to generally, seed the world with the fame that is Earth, Wind and Shire. And the Tater seems like a good destination, seeing as it takes us right the way across the kingdoms. The dwarves have heard of us. The dwarves know us well. The humans, not so well. They may have heard whisperings from dwarves, but little else. And the elves. Well, the elves have yet to know anything of us. They may have heard tell of a half-elf that plays the triangle, or now the quadrangle. But I think they need to know some more.
By the way, something that your party would be aware of is the fact that, generally speaking, getting into the Elven Empire for any reason tends to be quite difficult. You can expect there to be some bureaucratic nonsense that you might have to wade through if you were to try and gain access to Nador and Maya, even if you were to try and do so through accessing via Kersney.
Would that still be the case if the elves invited us?
If the elves invited you, you wouldn't have much of an issue getting through. However, the elves tend to be very protective of their border.
Fucking elves?
We just do a concert on the border,
Yeah.
and they'll invite us in.
I reckon so.
To put this into real world analogy for you, there's a bit of an iron curtain along the border of the Elven Empire.
I got you.
Do the elves maintain an embassy in Middleburn?
They do.
There you go.
There you go. You see, I'm thinking Germany, circa late 90s. Various rock bands managed to get in and do rock concerts, both in East Berlin and even in Moscow. It was the beginning of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't various shadowy, groups helping them do that from both sides of the wall, no doubt. That Iron Curtain needed to come down. The Soviet Union needed the trade. Everybody knew it. No one could work out a way of doing it. And musicians are a way of, or have a way of uniting and riling and stirring up people. Maybe we could be the catalyst for change. Maybe, just maybe, after a few years of a visit from Earthwind and Shire, and there'll be many more half-elves running around on that border, where man and elf have met and decided,
Well,
you're all right.
as a
That
matter
an
of
elf
fact,
is
the site of Kearsney is actually the point of highest porosity within the elven border. And it's also just so happens to be the point where the highest concentration of half-elves may be found.
Yep. See, man plus elf equals shagging equals half-elf.
yeah, but you're not. You're halfling, Bobby. You know, you're going to make
at best.
yeah.
Well, they're a bit up themselves and they're a bit tall. Maybe we could do with a few shorter elves.
I will say that you do not need to roll a history check to know that you are not aware of any half-elf, half-halfling to have ever existed.
I'm willing to give it a go. I reckon I can make it happen.
Is that how gnomes are made?
Maybe. Do they have a princess? They must have elven princesses. Princesses are always up for it. They're weird. They've got fucking things like, I've never tried any of that. I'll try a bit of strange. There's a bard over there that's knee-high and seems very willing and, and capable of pleasing even Goliath women. I wonder how we do with an elf. Well, I'm welcome to give it a go. I'm very keen to give it a go.
That would require a history check.
I'll give it a history check. I don't really care either way. Ego is king here, and ego is saying Bobby wants to find himself some elf strange, as wealthy and as royal as it can get. Because why
Right,
not? A history
Let's
check.
see what
you
the
say.
results of your history check are.
Okay. History check.
16, not bad.
Yeah.
With that, you will be aware of the fact that you're pretty confident that the main royal family does have at least one son and one daughter. However, you would also be aware of the fact that the Elven Empire is made up of a variety of kingdoms, and those kingdoms also have their own noble houses. So,
excellent.
If you'd be willing to try for second best,
Lots
you
of
might
potential.
be able to find a potential suitor there.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Bring it on. Got many. I've got two hands, a face. I 4 or 5 at a time. Bring it on. Bobby's game. Bashar wouldn't mind getting a bit as well. I'm sure Bashar would enjoy that.
The issue with Bashar though is he's not going to get much more than an in and out.
I no, yeah, sure. You know what? Yes, I'm going to have a conversation, psychically and slightly open in conversation with Bashar, bearing in mind I've not introduced Bashar to anybody else and they don't know anything about him.
Okay. It's worth pointing out that you do have the ability to psionically communicate with him. You do not have to speak aloud if you don't want to.
I know. I will have it slightly psychically, but occasionally we'll break out into, look, Bashar, I'm telling you, it's going to be great. Whilst talking to my cock and gesticulating at it, so that other people can see I'm doing this, and openly having a conversation with my, cock, and then realizing that I'm doing it out loud, and then, going back into the head space.
Right. Well, Bashar would respond to you, informing him of the idea of trying to fuck an elven princess with, those are some very high goals you've got there, friend. If you think you can manage it, then I'm along for the ride, but, just make sure you write a song about it.
Of course. I'm knee-high to most and don't mind having a go with the tallest of lasses. So high goals is all I've got. All I can have, in fact. Low goals is with the grasses, and nah. Always shoot high. If you don't aim high, what have you got? Where's the moon? Where's the stars? They're high. Yeah? Well, everything's high for me, so all I can do is aim for the stars. And if a bit of elf strange happens to be between me and the stars, well, I'll climb in there and have a bit of a route around. He says out loud.
Look, it's not my place to question your biology, but if you think that you're able to shoot your shot to the sky, then maybe you need to speak to a doctor friend.
Mate, I can paint the ceiling whenever I want.
Fucking degeneracy.
Oh, I hate it when I make myself laugh when I'm eating cough. I half choked then.
So, Bashar asks you during this conversation, so when are you going to introduce me to your friends that I keep hearing about? I can hear every thought that goes through your head, and therefore I can see everything that goes through your eyes, hear everything that comes through your ears.
Yeah, I'm not whipping my cock out at my friends and going, look, my cock talks to me. That would be weird.
Point taken.
Even with Piper.
Well, maybe you can just say that you've found a god that you're now following.
Aren't we getting a little bit ahead of ourselves there? A god? Look, what you are wrapped around is a god, my god. But you, not so much. You're just some guy stuck in a ring, stuck on my cock. Now, well, I'm happy to work with you, but you're not a god.
Some guy stuck in a ring that's promised you unlimited riches.
Yeah, I hear you. We work together, but don't go start calling yourself a god. Otherwise, I'm going to start going, prove it.
My friend, I'm not calling myself a god. I'm just saying that if you want to hide the fact that you're currently talking to a 40-something-year-old dead tiefling, then perhaps it would be easier and less awkward to introduce me as a god than somebody that is literally attached to your penis.
No, I'll just say I'm talking to my cock. They've known me long enough. They'll go, oh, okay. Fair enough. I've heard there's some...
You are an odd bunch, aren't you?
I've heard there's some tasty strange over in Tater, and I reckon we can nail one from here all the way over there, one in each town at least. That's the goal. Maybe get rich while we're doing it. Maybe get famous. Sing a few songs. Speak to a few priests, get a few cures. You know, the usual.
You just let me know when you plan to actually start this journey.
Fine.
And from that, he goes quiet.
Awesome.
Bobby, you doing all right? You seem to have just been looking down at your groin for a while. You haven't picked something up off one of the locals, have you?
No, I'm fine. Just having deep thoughts. Not seen enough action lately. It was just saying it could do with finding some strange. Haven't done a tiefling. Never done a tiefling for some reason. I've got a feeling I could do with, you know, having a crack at some humies, some elves, and some tieflings.
I don't know about tieflings.
Why not? I hear
I don't know, they've got those... They're all red and they've got those weird horn things.
Yeah, they're proper horny.
I don't know. I feel like they might be into all the wrong things.
Piper, darling, of course I'm into all the wrong things too. Surely you know that by now. You only get one life. What's the point in going through life and not having, a few weird experiences? I might not like it. I might like it a lot. You don't know until you've done it. I mean, they're not actual demons. I'm not saying let's go shag something from the hells.
I mean, they kind of are from the hells, though, aren't they?
Well, a bit, sort of.
Aren't they like half demons?
Kind of, I think. I'm not sure.
They've got like a bit of demon in them.
Yeah, I bet they'll be proper nasty.
Right, so how are we going to do this? Are we going to get a wagon or something?
Well, I don't know, because there's talk about wyverns and like training wyverns and stuff like that. So we could fly. Nick a couple
Yeah,
of
let's get a
wyverns,
wyvern. Let's fly on wyverns.
Yeah, stop off at a couple of towns, eat some sheep. Well, the wyverns can eat some sheep. We'll just have a nice lamb kebab or something. And, impress the local lasses, put on a bit of a song and dance, fly off somewhere else.
Maybe we can get a young wyvern as like a mascot.
It's a good idea. You didn't find any eggs or anything down there, did you? In the.
No, there weren't any eggs. There was just like sticks and things.
Yeah. No worries.
Right, I think we'd best make our way to that wyvern town then.
I think so. I think that's a good idea as a start point. Where's Cardgar anyway? He's been quiet. You alright there, mate? Ez. Oi.
Yeah, I'm here.
You at
Sorry,
the table?
sorry, I had a phone call come in. No. You guys want to go hunt a wyvern, was it?
No. Ride wyvern. Nick some wyverns, fly 'em.
Olga's just staring at you as if trying to work out if you've gone crazy. Given you seem to be talking to your crotch, he's not sure. You want to ride a wyvern?
Yeah. They look
We kill
wicked.
wyverns.
Well, yeah, we kill them, we eat them. Why not ride them? Kill and eat horses sometimes. We also ride them.
And then Bobby can have little half wyvern. Oh no, maybe not.
I'm not shagging the wyvern.
Go on, Bobby. You only live once. What's wrong with?
I've had enough wyvern tail already in my life. I found I didn't like it. He sort of rubs the scar from where he was impaled.
Being off trick, did you ever make that rapier out of the wyvern tail?
No, we haven't. We've got the bits, but we haven't found anyone that's capable of making it yet.
Yeah, they were going to be able to do that in Wyvern Town.
Yeah.
What is Wyvern Town anyway? Which one is it?
It's a town where they breed and train wyverns.
Yeah, well, which town is it?
I don't know.
It's like just north of it.
I feel like a
Along
disembodied
Ricard.
DM voice needs to interject.
What,
here.
do I need to do like a history check on this one?
No, this is information that your party already knows, so I'll just remind the players. The town of Nordshire is where the Stradivarian military get their trained wyverns from for the purposes of basically filling out the ranks of the wyvern riders, which are generally regarded to be among the highest, most elite soldiers within the Stradivarian military. You're currently operating on the belief that if you were to travel to Nordshire with a sufficient amount of coin, you could probably, at the very least, talk to an expert on the matter of wyverns. Maybe even buy one.
Maybe, yeah, this is what I'm thinking. Maybe they've got a couple of retarded ones that don't seem to want to be, military wyverns and are a bit sort of, tarred. And we can ride around on them.
Yeah, like a little runt.
Yeah.
Do we have any, Ginger, do we have any like frame of reference how much a wyvern would cost?
Currently, no.
No.
Though it wouldn't take much for you to come to a estimation of a lot of money.
Carglass is just going to like stroke his beard and just grumble at that and think for a moment before saying, I don't think we can afford a wyvern for all of us. And there's the dogs, the horses, and the bear.
You don't
What
get
about if we get an airship instead?
What about if just bear in mind, hold this thought, right? We get one wyvern, right? One wyvern, way big enough to have maybe Piper and Bobby on its back. And then everybody else gets into Piper's little room. Piper sticks that in her pocket, and we ride somewhere. You guys play cards in her parlour. We land, open the doors, and we all get out.
Polka just looks at you a moment and points at the bear.
Yeah?
I don't think it'll fit in your parlour.
I mean, I am looking to get a bigger one.
Well, that could work.
Eventually. They're expensive.
Mm-hmm.
How expensive?
Fucking expensive.
I mean, that one, the one I've got at the moment, cost me, what, like, better part of 3,000-4,000 gold?
So, might be a bit of a ways off.
Maybe.
If memory serves, Kiki and I agreed on 500 gold per square foot.
What we could do... Oh, I've got a great idea here. What we could do is we could fly low from the wyvern, and I could get my fishing rod and attach a big fucking string of sausages to the hook. And I could cast it over the side, and I could dangle it along the ground in front of the bear as we're flying along, and the bear can chase the sausages.
That's not bad, you know.
Don't think that'll work.
And you know, have we tried it? Have we tried that? Sounds like a great idea to me. I've seen donkeys marching forward because someone's holding a carrot on a stick in front of it. Is this not the same?
There we go. It was 1,000 gold per 5 foot cubed, and 300 gold for a door.
Yep. Let me just... there you go. Give that a look.
Yep, that's the one.
So, as it turns out, interdimensional pockets are rather pricey.
I would imagine.
It was all the money we made from that charity gig making this thing. Well, my share anyway.
Also, Cargo, if we did this with the bear, by the time we got from Nordshire to Metalburn or Meeburn or whatever it's called, that big place in the centre, by the time we got there, your fairly chunky bear would be svelte and lean and mean and capable of taking on the world, having run a couple 100 miles chasing a sausage. It's kind of fitness for the bear, and it solves all the problems. I don't see this. I think this is a good idea. I'll keep an eye on it.
He grumbles still, but he's like, well, if you really want to try this, but I don't think it's going to end well.
It will be fine. What's the worst that can happen?
You could fall off, break your neck.
Nah, I'll be fine. Worst that could happen, the worst that could happen is the bear can't keep up, and it will catch up with us after a while. You know, because they can smell, they can keep going. It might take him a day or two to catch up with us.
Our guy just looks at his drink for a moment and says, "Wyvern could eat you."
2 have tried.
And we ate them.
And we ate them. Yeah, exactly, Piper.
He just shrugs and says, "That's what you want to do. He'll go along with it. He just doesn't think it went well."
Oh, sure. A trained wyvern, a creature that's renowned for being incredibly loyal and obedient in military conditions where things are fighting left, right, and center. The heat of battle is absolutely a worse idea than going out and getting a bear to be your traveling companion.
He stares at you, Kiki. He's like, you trying to insult his Shenka?
No, I'm just saying, maybe people who live in glass houses shouldn't be casting shatter.
He shakes his head and says, "Fine, it's your wyvern. You if you want to do it."
God, it killed me there. I was coughing my wine up.
Are you okay there? Don't
Yes.
die.
Dwarves in glass houses shouldn't cast shatter is a fantastic line. That's one for a D&D meme. We need more wine, and we don't. Do we have more wine? We might have more wine, you know.
Trying to work out if that's an in-character statement.
Yeah.
Something about Trig can only play his own character.
Little out of column A, little out of column B. Bobby decides to go and search Piper's parlour for a bottle of wine. By that I mean go downstairs and have a look in the chest in the living room. See if we've got randomly lying around and stuff.
I think I do actually have about 3 bottles of wine in the parlour.
If memory serves, what you guys did was you basically requested the unseen servants that were serving the nobles in that party to just keep bringing you more wine, and they did, and then you just left with the wine.
Well, yeah, that's how you do it. Didn't we get
Did you
some
know?
from their special stash as well?
You did, yes. You have a couple of $100 golds worth of bottles of wine, which, due to the nature of the wine, only actually amounts to like 2 to 3 bottles. But it's some fucking good wine.
Well, IRL, yeah. Well, that's hideous. And the
IRL,
wine
you have a
shop
bottle of
closed
vinegar.
because they had an affair.
So, do you try to charter a boat up the river towards Shire? Yes. Yes. Powered boats exist.
Yeah, I reckon we take boat upriver. And it means we get to avoid more of those awful starfish things. Fishing and cooking, it's what we do best.
All right, then. So, it takes you a little bit of asking around, but it's not long before you're able to find somebody whose job it is to literally just go up and down the river, ferrying people from Donheim to Nordshire and back. As it turns out, the two places being on the same river means that they have reason for trading on occasion. You soon find yourself talking to a dwarven man of relatively average build, not particularly stocky, not particularly lean, and he seems to have a somewhat pointed hat and holding a pipe. Think Gandalf, but dwarven sized. Yeah, it's really big
Large
garden
himself.
though. And the man, he addresses your party when you approach him and just simply says, hello there. I hear that you're the Dragon Slayers. What can an old dwarf do for you?
We've killed dragons, we've eaten dragons, now we want to ride dragons.
Well, you've come to the right place. Name's Gory. No, not like the viscera that you might see after putting a hamster through a blender. No, my name is Gory, spelled Gori. Yes, this is a question that I get a lot. Sure, let's go with that. Oh, I see. I see. That's one of those human names, isn't it?
Some of them are a bit weird, though. They call themselves Geoff.
Geoff?
Anyway, if you're heading up that way, we are more than happy to provide you with entertainment and protection for your goods and your ship if you're willing to have us on board.
It's all very well and good, but the goods would be the people that I'd be carrying. I don't tend to do much in the way of goods traffic, you see.
No, well, if you're carrying people, all the more need for protection and entertainment. Don't want you people getting bored on your trip now, do you?
He raises an eyebrow at you, takes a puff on a pipe, and says, if the four of you are going to be traveling up the river with me, then that'll be, let's call it 2 gold apiece.
I'll tell you what, how about we pay you that 2 gold apiece? We take that ride with you, and we also provide you with that entertainment and protection service, and you pay us back what you think it's worth on the other side.
takes another puff on his pipe for a moment and says, "Well, with you having slain the beast of Donheim Mines, there isn't really much that needs to be concerned about in regards to protection."
Oh, not in
So-
Donheim.
Not in Nordshire either.
What about river bandits?
Nope. It's a pretty well protected place. Heart of
Well,
the Dwarven Kingdoms.
I mean, I'm sure you'll find some value in our music.
I might. You know what? Sure, let's go with that. I'll take you up on that deal. If you can manage to make me think that you're actually worth the coin for the entertainment, then I'll give you a bit of a refund, depending on what it ends up coming to.
Fantastic.
But no promises. He says, pointing his pipe at you.
Well then, when do you leave?
Well, as of right now, you're my only customers, so that is that's a decision to be made for you.
Well, if we are your only customers, then we can assure you that we will make sure that your customers are well entertained for the entire journey.
And protected.
That sounds rather generous of you. I'm sure that your customers will be greatly appreciative.
Although if you could get a few more together, we would appreciate a captured market to put a few shows on.
Oh, well, if that's what you're hoping for, then I'm afraid we'll have to delay the journey. After all, as of right now, I'm not aware of anybody who's looking to travel up the river.
Nah, screw that. Let's go on the boat. Let's go. Fuck it. This place is boring.
Fine, we'll play to
exactly
the
what I was hoping
fish.
to hear.
By the way, your mayor at this place is a proper villain. But, you know, we'll talk
Oh.
about that later.
He seems to show an aspect of curiosity with what you're alluding to there, but pays it no mind whilst he seemingly sets up the boat ready for departure. So, it's not all that difficult for you guys to follow along as you make your way up the river using the map that you have access to figure out where exactly you are. You are aware of the fact that, thanks to the nature of the boat having to travel against the current, that even though it does appear to have some kind of bizarre bubbly device going off on the back of it, that it is at the very least capable of slowly traveling against the current.
Cool.
If you had to guess, this is going to be about a week's journey going up the river. So all things considered, 2 gold apiece isn't that bad.
No. No, not bad at all.
So, is there anything that you guys want to do along the journey, or are we just going to time skip straight to you've arrived?
I don't think there's a lot to do other than, you know, unless there is stuff to do. You know, if it's just a matter of dicking about on the boat, doing arm wrestles and, you know, fishing and insulting the seagulls, I'm happy to skip ahead. How about you? Ez, how about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, happy to skip ahead, but would like to do one dice roll.
Okay.
As you know, you may remember, Ginger, Coggar's been doing a lot of cooking and did purchase some chef's tools. So could I do a dice roll during the journey, see if I can become proficient?
Yeah, I'd say that you're a decent way there along the acquisition of that skill. So if you roll particularly well here, you'll be able to consider yourself proficient with chef's tools from here on out.
Can we give him a what's it called? Bardic inspiration.
Yeah.
You certainly can.
Can we give him inspiration by taste testing it? Not advanced even.
I mean,
Sure.
Okay. What should I roll against for that?
Do you have cook's tools in your inventory right now?
I have chef's tools. Yep.
There should be an associated skill with the chef's tools. You are not considered proficient, so if you just click the button...
It's in my inventory, but I haven't added it to the tools list.
All right. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to go to the skills section underneath where your main skills are listed, and you want to create a separate item skill. It should say tool proficiencies and custom skills.
Yeah. So it's
Set
asking
the
me
name chef's tools. Set the bonus to, well, the only option is proficient, expertise, or jack of all trades, but you are a bard, so therefore jack of all trades will apply.
Okay, and the attribute?
Attribute? This will be wisdom, I think.
Wisdom, not charisma?
No, you can't really convince a meal to taste better. It's more of just the skill of the person operating the cook's tools.
Okay. What do I need to do now? Just roll it?
Yeah, if you just click on the skill once it's been done, it should appear in the chat. Just like that. Right, so you've got a 20 so far, and you have been given a bardic inspiration by Piper.
That's D8, isn't it?
Yep.
26.
Nice.
Congratulations. Go ahead and upgrade your jack of all trades up to proficient with the chef's tools.
Okay.
Cardgar is now proficient in the use of chef's tools after rolling sufficiently high on several occasions and consistently practicing his skills. In this particular case, go ahead and describe to me what the nature of the food that you end up rustling up for the people aboard the ship is.
Well, he still had some of the wyvern bones left over, so I'm going to say he made a soup. Wyvern soup, a la whatever is in the stores of the boat, I guess. Add a bit of rosemary, maybe, a bit of oregano, something like that.
Righto. So you make a nice hearty bone broth style of soup.
Yeah.
Well, it is hearty.
Excellent.
I'll just need one moment. I've just been contacted by a family member. I need to sort something.
No worries.
So I will be semi-listening in. If I'm needed, feel free to just ask for me.
No problem.
So, I guess I ladle the soup out into bowls and just look at you guys expectantly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll give that a go. It smells nice. I was going to unleash some vicious mockery if you rolled like a 2 there. But apparently
Thank you for your vote of confidence there, Trig.
Yeah, you know. Look, if you can't take the piss out of your friends if they do something badly, you can't tell them well done when they do something well. They won't know. If you're just going, oh yeah, that's lovely, that is, when it's awful, yeah, how will they be able to trust you? You'll know it's awful, they'll know it's awful, but they're talking out their arse and blowing smoke up your arse. No. You need your friends, to be honest.
Oh, well said, I guess.
You know what I'm finding? I'm just going through some spells here at the moment. And because I noticed Kiki was having some issue before, where she was casting a spell and going, the spell DC should be 15, but apparently here it says 12.
Yeah.
You need to, if you're going through your spells on your character sheet, press the I next to the spell, so it brings up the, the general gist of what's going off in the spell, and then go to the little cogwheel. Make sure that the saving throw is queued up to your correct spell casting ability.
So it should be charisma, shouldn't it?
It should be charisma. Because what's happening is it's going, oh, you've got to do a wisdom
I think
saving.
mine's fixed. I'm going to post it and just double check. So this Phantasmal 4 should be a 15.
Yep, but it's there as a 13.
Wait, hang on. Let's get to the right page.
Yep.
I've lost roll 20. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'd opened so many other tabs.
Okay, I'm listening in right now whilst waiting for my family member to respond to a message. Let me just check what you're currently having problems with.
I've noticed sometimes the saving throw is queued to the thing on it. The saving throw isn't queued to your spellcasting DC, which it should be.
Yeah, it's saying saving.
I'm seeing here that on the spell Phantasmal Force, the spell casting ability is set to spell. There's no reason why that shouldn't be set to charisma, given that that's your spell casting modifier.
Exactly.
All mine say spell as well, but I'm assuming it just defaults to whatever your spellcasting ability at the top is.
Yeah, it should do.
It should do, but on some of
It
them,
should.
it
That
queues
fixed
to
it though, look.
Yeah, it sometimes queues to what the, if it go, oh, you need to do a con save on it against your spells casting DC, and then it just pulls off your con ability rather than your charisma ability as your spell save DC, which breaks
Command
it.
didn't need fixing. Silent image does.
There you go.
Could this be a character monster issue?
I reckon it's just a roll 20 issue.
It's probably just a problem with Roll20. Okay, I can see that you've just changed silent image. Now click the spell to make it appear again. It now says 15, which is correct.
Yep.
Okay.
So, the mystery of the retarded spell save DC has been solved. Well done, Trig.
My pleasure. See, this good things come about when I'm sat there going, how can should I cast Vicious Mockery on as if he fucks this one up? I think I will. I'll just have a bit of a look through Vicious Mockery and see if oh, hold on a second. Why is that set like that? That should be set like this. Because again, that was doing my spell save DC, which should have been 15, and it came up as like 14 or something. I was like, that's wrong. Why is that? I will find out immediately whilst you guys are talking about sausages or something. Broth.
Yeah, it
broth.
should
You were
be.
talking about broth.
It should be 8 plus your what's it called? Proficiency bonus, which should be 3 at this level.
Yep.
Plus your charisma modifier.
Yep. So
11, and whatever your charisma mod is. So with 18 charisma, we should be having a 15.
Yes.
Alrighty then. So just so that you know, your spell save DC is determined by taking 8, adding your proficiency modifier to it, and then adding your skill modifier to it.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
That's yeah.
Right. Just making sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mostly repeating it for myself, to be honest.
Yes.
Right, so bit distracted. Sorry.
It's quite all right.
So, the bone broth works. You end up making yourself a rather decently flavored soup. You impress everybody, especially Gory on the boat, who is more impressed with the bone broth soup than seemingly he has been with any music that you guys may or may not have played for him up until that point.
Well, I think we need to do a performance roll in that case.
I
Yeah.
think so.
All right, then. Go ahead and give me some performance checks.
I'm guessing we're all inspiring each other as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Of course. I'll put
Um,
my inspiration with you, Kiki, so you get to roll 2d8 and pick the one you prefer.
Let's
oh,
Those
34.
are some rather high numbers.
I think I'll take the 4.
No, I think that's wise.
Yeah.
Did I only roll a 2? I only rolled a 2.
You rolled a 2. Your performance was awful.
I'm gonna lucky that.
Both of your performances were awful. Awful.
No, I've
Ugh.
luckied it. It's an 18.
Right, okay.
The 22.
It's marginally better.
I still got a better performance roll than you. I got 23.
A 22, by the way. Sorry, a 2 is the equivalent of the worst roll you can have.
Yeah.
For a halfling, yes.
For a halfling, definitely.
Okay, so Cardgar gets a 23. Kiki gets a 18 plus 4, so that's a 22. Bobby gets a 34, which is a damn sight higher. And yeah, Essig isn't taking part in this.
No.
Because
He's
Coatrack
not
AFK.
here.
So we take a total of 79. We divide it by 3 because there's 3 of you to get an average roll of 26.3, which is rather good. You thoroughly impress the boatman, who, upon you concluding your impromptu mini concert, looks at you all and says, "Well, I gotta say, that was some pretty good music. In fact, I would say that that's probably the best music that I've ever heard in my life."
Not bad.
We try our best.
Thank you. Yeah, well, some of us do. Some of us could do with a bit of practice, I think. But anyway, we're not going to go into that. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, old chap. I'm glad you
He
enjoyed
takes
it.
a few more puffs on his pipe, and then says, "Yeah, I'll give you a bit of money back for that. I'll give you, 2 gold." And hands over the 2 gold pieces.
Thank you. Thank you kindly. Cough, cough. And an inspiration point. Cough.
Oh yeah, you. I forgot to mention at the start of the session. You do still have your this session's DM inspiration
Excellent.
that you just get for free.
Great. Oh well. I'll mark that up.
But it is worth pointing out that this dwarf Gory, he seems to be genuine when he says that that it was the best music he's ever heard in his life. But I'd say give me an inspiration, because there doesn't not inspiration. Give me an insight, because there's something not quite right. Well, that is definitely a high enough score from Cardgar there. You were able to tell that, yes, this man was impressed with the music, but he doesn't really seem to be into it in the same way that most people would. If you had to guess, you'd say you found one of those rare examples of a person who just doesn't like music.
Weird.
Strange.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah. And upon realizing this, you're overcome with a sense of unease. It's just, why does this guy not like music? Huh. But in either case, it is not long before your party has travelled their way up the river. The point at which you cross the border from Vrangan Uriag over to Stradivania is brought up by Gory as he points to a particularly large tree and says, "Well, that's the sign that we've crossed the border. At least we did at some point in the last few minutes. And if you keep an eye out, you might spot a few floppy things going about the skies." And indeed, anybody who is paying attention will be able to see that there appears to be at least several wyverns flying about in the sky up ahead.
Awesome.
Now that's what we're talking about.
It is. You know, the last time we saw one of those, it was trying to kill us. And the time before that, when we saw one of those, it was trying to kill us again. And those are the
We
only
were
two
trying
times.
to kill it.
Well, I mean, only because we were trying to save ourselves. To be fair, it was the first time we weren't there trying to kill it. The first time was, bloody hell, that's a wyvern and it seems pissed. And those are the only two times I've ever seen a wyvern. And yet here I am looking at wyverns, lots of them, and I'm not filled with dread. I'm filled with...
Well, that's because those ones mostly tame.
I mean, also, the last times we saw wyverns, sure, they wanted us dead. But they were very tasty.
They did taste rather nice, didn't they?
In fact, I see those wyverns up there, and if anything, it makes me hungry.
You're always hungry, Piper.
I offer Piper some of the leftover soup.
And it's not
Well,
even time for
just-
third brunch yet.
Just so that you lot know, I wasn't kidding when I said that those things are mostly tame. There are incidents that occur on a somewhat uncommon but not unheard of basis. Just if you're spending time about there, follow the directions, don't get yourself killed.
Seems like solid advice.
You halflings are particularly snack shaped, you must understand.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, I'm surprised that you lot have apparently fought two of the bastards and gotten away with it.
gotten away with it. We've eaten the buggers. Very tasty they were too.
I hear that it's spicy.
It's got a zing to it.
Ugh. Might have to try a bit myself.
Well, yeah. I would offer you some, but we basically sold it all back in Donheim. We got there with some burgers and stuff from our previous one, and then the second one, well, we kind of blew it up, so there wasn't quite as much to go around.
And you didn't make burgers?
It was kind of splattered all over the walls. It would have been a more mossy rather than spicy, to be honest.
Oh, I see. I wasn't there at the time. I was on the river.
Well,
but I did hear from a few passerbys that there was a bit of a bang.
Between you and me, blasting gel. Yeah.
Blasting jelly.
Yeah.
Isn't
Blasting
that
gel.
stuff that? Isn't that stuff that the Yumis use to do their mining?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also good
I
for
bet.
fish.
It turns out that if you put a barrel or two underneath the wyvern and then set it off, the wyvern goes into lots of little bits all over everything.
Well, I'm not surprised. That stuff's illegal, don't you know?
Well, we don't have any anymore, so no one's going to arrest us.
Aye, it's the Yumis. They like to use it to do their mining, so they don't have to go underground like we dwarves do.
Yeah.
But over in Vranganuriag, that stuff's if you're caught with it and you don't have something from the government, then that's arrestable on the spot right there.
Oh, I'd like him to see him find our stash.
Yeah.
You should be lucky that nobody's heard about it up until now.
Well, you know, like I said, between you and me and the gatepost, nobody else knows. So if suddenly there are rumours going about, we'll know where it's come from. But, you know.
No, you don't need to be worrying about me in regards to all that stuff.
Good. But yeah.
Anyway.
That's how little uns like us managed to defeat a big fucking wyvern thing like that. And we could have used magic and nets and spears and all sorts of stuff, but that sounded a bit dangerous.
Didn't one of you die?
A bit more dangerous, I should say. Yeah, he got better. He's the elfin chap down there that doesn't say much at the moment because his actual controller isn't here.
Aye, he's been, I'm going to assume that he's been sleeping off the last vestiges of being brought back from the dead.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, it's his own fault, really. He did stand right next to the barrel.
He was hiding behind a tree, right behind the barrel. We did try to warn him, but apparently he wasn't listening very hard. So, you know, such is life. Lessons are learned.
As you described that he was hiding behind a tree, you see the man think for a moment and then say, so the stuff that the Humies use to wipe out mountainsides, he tried to hide behind a tree.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit.
Aha. Well, at that point, I think that there's a bit of a miracle that he was able to be brought back at all.
I like to think of it as with elves, yeah, the blood has a lot of long distance to go to get to the head, so they don't think quite as well as people that are a bit, you know, closer to the
Aye, that
closer
would
to
make
the
sense.
source. You know,
Aye.
they're all
Short
right.
you are, the smarter you are.
That's my thinking. I don't like to say it, certainly not around elves. You know, they can be a bit uppity, but the taller they get, the further the blood has to go. I think it just doesn't get, you know, so much oxygen up there in those high heights.
I think you might be onto something there, you know. See, I've heard of plenty of lots of little innovations coming out from Varpak and the like. Like that thing back there at the back of the boat. Used to have to keep a couple of horses to drag this thing up the river, but since I got this thing put on, it just kind of makes a burble and off I go.
Honestly, dwarves, halflings, gnomes. You got to keep them. You got to include them in there. I might not be the biggest fan. No one's the biggest fan of gnomes, but they are smart, cunning little buggers. They make all kinds of weird contraptions. Clever little sods. Elves.
What
Oh,
on?
aren't the trees nice at the moment? I do like the trees. Oh, nature's nice. They're a bit, you know.
Aye. You know, it's often said that the dwarves, we like our axes, but it doesn't make sense because what are axes for? Cutting down trees. We don't live near trees. We live in the holes in the ground, don't we? You see, that's what the trick is. Elves live in trees.
Yeah. I see. I always thought.
Look, there's a reason why there's a whole country between us and them.
Yeah.
Funky bastard. Right then. There'll still be a fair few dwarven folk around in Nordshire, but you should be expecting to be seeing a lot more of those tall, those umis and the like over there. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that that's where they get their wyverns sorted for those flying soldiers of theirs. Dangerous bastards, you know.
I know. Teeth, tails, wings, claws.
You don't know the half of it. You should see what the actual people do once they're on the back of a wyvern.
I'm assuming bows and spears.
No,
Bit of lightning.
nothing so mundane as that.
Fireballs, etc.
Look, if they're doing a training exercise, I recommend that you keep an eye out. It's incredible what they do. They have these guys in these massive suits of armor that makes them basically untouchable. And what they do is they wait until they find a good opportunity to strike at a high-value target. And then they go, like, nosedive down into it, and tail goes stab, and then the guy on the back of the damn thing's holding a pair of big fuck-off spears that look like they weigh half a ton apiece. Whatever ends up getting hit by the thing, it's turned into mincemeat by the time they're finished. Hyper lethal strike.
Yeah.
Now, before I say goodbye, there is one question I've got for you.
Go on, ask away.
You two, you're halflings, right? You lot come from across the mountains.
We do. Yeah.
That's where the gnomes live too, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
At this point, he looks from side to side as if he's about to say something that he doesn't want to be overheard, and he says, "Is it true that they don't have emotions?"
I don't know about that.
I mean, they get quite excited about money.
They do. They get quite giggly and all giddy about certain things and inventions and yeah, I would definitely they have emotions. They're a bit weird though.
I heard this one story that a gnome once sold its own mother. And
Yeah.
that the mother was happy about it.
Yeah, I can see that with gnomes. I could believe that. But yeah, they do have emotions, but it's not like, like we have emotions. They're not normal. They're a bit,
Bunch of little fucking freaks. Swear to.
Yeah.
Right, well,
Whiskey.
now I know if I ever see a gnome to keep him at arm's length and never take my eye off him.
If you've got gold, buy something nice trinkety off him. They like that. But yeah, don't spend too much time around him. I don't know, there might be good ones out there. I haven't met all of them. I can't judge. But
Isn't that one that lives up in the with the king supposed to be like a genius or something?
oh, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Very bright they are.
Ah, look. That little thing on the back of my boat that makes it go up the river.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently that was invented by a gnome. So they can't be all that bad. But still. I don't think that they're from this, this plane. I reckon that they're from the same place that the elves are,
Wouldn't surprise me.
They're a bunch of-
Only
they're a bunch
planar
of
travelling
emotional
I've
bastards.
done was
Go on.
we met whales. Big flying whales.
Aha.
So that's all I know about planes. Can't really comment about planes where elves and gnomes might be from, but there are planes. Definitely.
Shame we
been
couldn't
there.
bring one of those whales back. They were fun to ride on.
They were. I mean, I've got my nice trousers out of them, but they were a bit.
All right. I've got to ask, what's a whale?
Hold on. I think I can do something for you here. Yeah,
A
you
minor
beat me to it.
illusion here.
You beat me to it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he takes a look at the minor illusion and says, "Ah, so that thing flies, does it?"
Yeah.
I'll do a minor illusion of a
Now, I was about to
A group
say
of-
it's a bit small, but I'm going to guess that this isn't very good at giving me an idea as to how big it is.
That
yeah.
is
I'll do a minor illusion of a
Yeah.
group of halflings alongside it.
Fine. I'm gonna help with that. So add a few extra details to the, like sound. Maybe with the whale song. Maybe the gas coming out of it. You see those little
We'll do
dots there?
essentially a minor illusion picture show of us fighting the whale.
Well, he seems to be quite interested at this this display of various images, but he, by the time he's done, he looks at you and says, "I still don't know how big it was."
Right.
Well, you
yeah.
saw the little people.
You saw, yeah, that was us.
Those dots?
Yeah.
No, you're fucking with me.
No.
That thing's the size of a castle, if that's true.
That's
Oh,
So
that's
about
you
right.
what-
see Bobby's trousers.
Yeah.
You see Bobby's
Aye.
trousers. They're made from just a tiny bit of that thing. We had to crawl inside it and pull out this sack, and there were hundreds of them, and we
Yeah.
took one, and that made Bobby's trousers.
These trailers right here.
I was thinking that it looked like you were wearing a giant ball sack in your legs, but I guess that explains it. So you're telling me that these things are like the size of a small village, and
Yeah.
yet
At least.
it flies?
Yeah. At least the size of a small bit a medium-sized village, even.
You know, they tasted good too. I'm starting to think the bigger things are, the better they taste.
Yeah. Ooh. I wonder how elf
All right.
tastes.
You need to roll a persuasion check now, because this guy, he's looking at you with like narrowed eyes, as if to say, "Yeah, go on, sell me some more bullshit."
All right, who's doing it?
I've just done it and it was awful.
Yeah,
Well-
just a thought, guys.
Can I
I can
give
summon
advantage?
up. I can summon up that stuff that makes people believe what you say. That from the sky whale.
Can I give advantage on that by assisting with through the pictures and through details? And can Cardgar give us a bardic inspiration for it?
Yeah, right.
I will say
Yeah.
you can roll separately if you want to.
Okay.
Okay, so you get an 18.
And we get the bardic
Cardgar-
inspiration from Cardgar?
So click twice.
Yeah, go ahead and roll bardic inspiration if Cardgar is giving that to you.
Yep, I was giving Kiki. Roll twice. Pick the one you want.
That's plus a 7, so that'll be a 25.
Well, with the additional details that you give and and like more scientific diagrams and things of that nature, the man seems to eventually come around to the idea that, in fact, yes, there are creatures the size of small villages that fly around, and that you guys have, in fact, killed one. And by the time you're finished with your little expose, he says, "Right, well, if I ever want something the size of Don I'm dead, I know who to call." Good to know. Anyway, it's about time that I got this thing all docked to the side of the river so that you guys can depart and get on with whatever it is you want to do here. So I'll bid you all a goodbye. And with that, he gets up and he starts the process of kind of tying things off and getting it all parked up and so on and so forth. I'm sure Kiki can relay details. But yes, it's not long before you guys are given the opportunity to depart from the boat and be within the small township of Nordshire. Nordshire is quite different to Donheim. For starters, the architecture is quite different. As opposed to a predominantly stone-based architecture that the dwarves use, this is much more so stone on the bottom half, but then wood on the top half. And also, unlike dwarven architecture, they seem to value building up rather than out. However, the main thing that catches your eye is the simple fact that it appears as though there is, at all times, seemingly, at least 2 to 3 wyverns just flying about the top of the town. And now that you're within the actual ground space, you can see that, yes, all of these wyverns appear to have saddles on them with people riding on the backs of them, and they're wyvern riders.
I am going to stop the nearest official-looking police officer type dude there is, and ask him where these wyvern riders hang out and drink. We are but a mere party of travelling bards looking to entertain the peak of human society, and these wyvern riders are people we just have to meet and maybe put on a song for them. Where do we go to hang out? Everyone's got a drink, right?
You end up approaching a man who is just in general town guard attire. He's armored, he has a poleaxe to his side, and he looks as though he is a little bit bored. But upon hearing your request for information, he just kind of looks at you with a look of surprise, not disdain, but more like dismissiveness, as he says, "Oh, you want to talk to the you want to talk to the Wyvern Riders? Right? Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's you, fresh off the boat. Yep. I saw you come in. Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Do they not like the best entertainment that was going?
Oh, I'm sure they do, but you won't be allowed to get access to the grounds. It's all military based stuff. You can wander about the town if you want. You might be able to speak to the family if you could spot someone.
You know what? Where do the Wyvern Riders generally take their drink?
Do they not nip out at the weekends and go and have a few beers at the local?
Not really, no.
No?
Look, okay, let me explain it to you, since you're obviously new. Shire it's the place where the Wyvern Riders get their wyverns.
Okay.
The riders don't live here.
Right.
They're all over in the capital unless they're on deployment.
Yeah, but they're training.
They're the highfalutin. Yeah. No. Right. Okay. Those are wyverns. Those are the trainers for the wyverns that you're seeing up there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, them.
Okay. The people who actually ride the wyverns into battle, they don't live here.
Well, I can't put on a
the
show
people
for them if
that
they're not
train.
here. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
These chaps, look at them swirling around up there. I want to sing them a song.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. You should be able to do that. Right. You go follow along this road here, and you want to make your way to the main thoroughfare.
Okay.
There is there's a bar that is. It was an inn, but no longer is. They just sell drinks nightly, and that's basically where most people go. The trainers who actually do all of that stuff, they live in a separate compound on the other side of town. They kind of keep to themselves. It's all a matter of national security, etc., etc.
Sure.
They do have people who are training to be wyvern trainers that you might be able to talk to.
Okay.
These wyverns they train. Do all of them make it? Do all of them make the cut, or do they ever get any rents?
You mean rejects?
Yeah.
Yeah, they happen. And when that happens, the townsfolk get to have a new stock of some lovely steaks.
Tasty wyvern burgers. They are rather delicious. Had a few recently. Had a bit of a to do over in Donheim recently. They'd got a wyvern causing all manner of problems. We had to deal with it.
All right.
Yeah, killed its stone dead.
I'd heard about that.
Yeah.
I'd heard about that. There was a wild one that was over there.
Yeah.
Some upstart was trying to start rumors that it was one of ours. No, they
not anymore.
The wyverns
it was.
are...
It's very dead now.
Hey?
Well, it's very dead now, isn't it? We sort of kind of killed it.
Oh, you offed it?
Yeah.
Oh, well done. Well done. Sure, the townsfolk are very happy with you.
They are very chuffed, yeah. Made quite a penny or two as well. It was rather nice. Anyway, so this inn that isn't an inn is no longer an inn, but it's still serving beer. So what is it now? An out?
He looks at you for a moment with a kind of... You can tell that you just befuddled him. And after a moment, he collects himself and just says, "Look, just go to the Crown."
The Crown. Lovely. Thank you. That's what we were looking for. I've been Bobby. It's been a pleasure. We're heading to the Crown. If you fancy a show later, pop into the Crown. You might catch us playing. Piper.
Right, well,
Piper. Skywriting. Crown. Let everyone know. Make it high enough so the Wyvern Riders have to fly around the letters.
no, you don't want to do that. That's interfering with the Wyvern Riders, not the traders.
I could do it in like
Literally
cursive
illegal.
script. Give them some little loops to fly through.
Really? Skywriting's illegal?
It is around these parts. Anything that can be understood to be interfering with the process is very illegal. In fact, I'm going to have to ask that you guys give me assurance that you're not going to do that, or I'm going to have to arrest you.
Fine, we won't do skywriting. Can't we just do it at a really low level, like on a just above the street? Say no more. We won't do it.
No.
Forget I said it.
Right.
Right. Crown.
Happy I can stay friendly with you.
Absolutely.
Right, go to the Crown. You'll find some drinks there. Pretty good stuff.
Great.
Name's Kyle.
Kyle, pleasure.
Right.
By the way, just before we go, do you have a temple of Inagi or a temple of healing around here?
No. Inagi isn't one that we keep around here. We do have a you're familiar with Pelor?
I'm familiar with most of the gods. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Totally
Well, if you're
lies.
friendly with Pelor, then you can go visit his
Great.
church.
No worries. Awesome. And the lasses, they hang around the Crown. They're good-looking sorts. Nudge,
Oh,
wink,
yeah.
wink. Know what I mean?
Look, if you're wanting to get some,
Always.
go to the Crown during closing time. That's when they tend to
They
gather.
get desperate. Yeah, they haven't scored. They need something. Anything will do. Very familiar. It's been a pleasure, Kyle.
No, I can tell that you're a bunch of... I can tell that you're a bunch of wandering show folk. You know the drill.
Absolutely. Right. Have a good one. See you later. Finger guns.
Hopefully, see you later.
Right.
And he seems to be quite okay with you having just arrived, though you do notice that he definitely keeps an eye on you until you're completely out of eyeshot.
So you reckon we'll get away with a little bit of skywriting if we put a note at the bottom saying it wasn't us?
I think we leave it just this once, as we've been told not to. We'll find a way to get word round. You know the best way to get word round? Let's fucking do a bit of a sing song in an open place. Let's go to the Crown. Make sure we've got a venue first. And once we've chatted up the barman, got ourselves a venue, somewhere to play tonight, let's tell the whole fucking town. It's
Right,
what we
so-
do, isn't it?
As of right now, the total information that you know about Nordshire is that a river runs through it. There is a local drinks establishment called The Crown. and that they train wyverns here.
Yeah.
It's currently roughly the middle of the day, and you have yet to encounter anywhere where you might be able to get a bed or a room. It might be a good idea for you guys to acquire some more information about the place.
I think so.
So, what's your plan? What are you doing?
Why don't we go to the crown and see if they have beds?
Yeah. Well, he did say it wasn't an inn anymore. It might be an out. Which basically, as I understand it, outs don't have beds. They, when it comes to closing time, they kick you out rather than keep you in. That's how it works, right?
I think so. Oh, why don't we just keep an eye out as we're walking to the crown? If we see anywhere, we go in
Sure.
to the inn.
We'll go into an inn, and we'll go out to the out, and
Exactly.
yeah, smashing.
So, what's the roll to see if we find anything, Ginger?
Depends on what you're trying to find specifically. Are you just trying to navigate your way to the crown?
Did we get directions to the crown?
You did.
Okay, yeah, we'll head toward the crown and just keep an eye out to see if there's any places to stay on the way,
Right so.
and maybe any places that might want us to put on a performance.
Shire is an interesting place. As you make your way in up through the docks, you're able to see that there appears to be a. It appears as though that the town itself seemingly follows the route that the river takes, with the majority of all of the structures having a view of the river, and them being between the river and the main road that travels along it. At one point, you are able to see a sign sticking out from a particular structure that has a rather large and impressive looking crown atop it, which, if you had to guess, is probably the crown. And you can see that there appears to be a reasonable number of people making their way in and out of the place. You get the impression that this is the go-to meeting point of the town.
That's where we go. That's where all the answers to all of our questions and all of the beginnings of all of our problems will lie, in the same place. The place where they sell booze.
Indeed. The solution and cause of all of life problems.
Indeed. Indeed, in fact. Ooh, whiskey. That's
I
a good
certainly
idea.
know nothing about this.
Right, so we're going to go into the crown. We're going to ask the barman and the bar wench where the best place for to stay for the night or two, and whether we can put on a bit of a performance for your brave lads in their wonderful flying animals and things, and generally do a bit of hobnobbing and getting to know people. See if we can't find a cheap place for the night, a good expensive place for the night, a dirty slut of a place for the night.
Right, well, as you make your way in, you are immediately greeted by a establishment that looks to be at least a little bit larger on the inside than what you were expecting. It looked like as though a fairly typical looking house-like structure that had a stone on the bottom, wood on the top. But as you make your way in, you notice that unlike what you would usually expect from such a place, it appears as though it has been converted at some point in the past. The ground floor consists of a variety of tables, some squirreled away behind corners, booths, etc., with a large bar that takes up pretty much the entire leftmost wall. And looking at the bar itself, you are able to spot that there appears to be a step ladder that leads directly from the ground floor up to a second floor, which itself appears to be constructed as largely a balcony that goes around the edge of the top floor with an entire separate seating area.
Ooh, fancy.
And working the bar on the ground floor, you were able to see a human woman with brown, flowing hair who appears to have a set of the most gigantic tits that you have ever laid eyes on. They are truly enormous. And this woman just appears to be serving drinks. There's several males who are all seemingly ogling at her. You have to guess that they are here equally for the booze and for the view. And she appears to be just wandering about, serving drinks, asking people if they want more. At one point, she does do what you are going to assume is some kind of secret knocking maneuver, and suddenly a rather burly man comes walking in and picks up somebody who's blatantly had too many drinks and drags them out and dumps them outside the building.
I'm going to charge over to the bar with a big cheeky grin on my face.
Well, it's not long before this woman spots you and just says, "One moment, love." As
No
she
problem.
goes to pour another, what you're going to assume is some kind of pint of something golden to another person. As moments later, she comes over to you and says, "Oh, you're one of those little folk from across the mountains, are you? What are you? You one of those gnomes, or are you a halfling?"
Halflings here with my my compatriots.
The good ones.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a group of bards. We're just in town at the present moment. Thought we'd stop off at your humble establishment for a couple of pints of milk. I mean beer, and maybe see if
You've come for the show, have you?
hard to miss it. Fantastic show it is too. Thought we'd see if we could put on a show ourselves. Actually,
Well, she says, "Let me give you a little taster." As she waggles her breasts side to side, inches away from your face, leaning in just to make sure that you get a good view of them, and then says, "Right, if you want another one of those, that'll be a gold piece." As she walks off.
Pints of beer, lads, ladies. We'll have a couple of pints.
Yeah,
of beer.
what they got in?
Yeah, I don't know.
From the looks of things, this appears to be a rather successful establishment. There is visible from the on the shelf behind the bar that you aren't able to reach a wide variety of various dwarven and human beers, ales, ciders, just a selection to go for. But in addition to that, you're also able to see in a glass cabinet a variety of harder liquors that you could potentially opt for. You haven't seen a drinking establishment this well stocked since you left Varpak. Generally
Fantastic.
speaking, you can describe a drink, and you're pretty confident that you'll be able to be served it.
Oh, what was that? What was that stuff we had at that pub that made Kargar see things?
That was it. Mists of the Desert.
Oh, I'm not having any
yeah, it
more
was-
of that. I nearly died from that.
Oh, all right. What about that cold drink then?
I nearly died from that too. I'm just going to stick to a nice mild beer, if that's okay for you guys.
I'll have one of those Mists of the Desert.
Well, the woman
Be
she,
careful, Bobby.
when she comes back, she hears Cardgar say "mists of the desert" and thinks for a moment and says, "Oh, you want one of those? Vapors kind of guy, are you? Okay, sure. It's a bit pricey, you know."
Yes. How price are we talking?
Well, it's a gold piece a shot.
God just looks at everyone and says, "Everyone, one shot."
I'm not touching that stuff. No, no, no. I'll
Oh,
have a
come
beer,
on.
please. No, no, no.
Don't be a wimp, Bobby. Go on, get one.
Oh,
Get us
bloody
one,
hell. I
Karga.
nearly died last time.
And
Literally.
if you do, we'll find a priest and bring it back, like we
Yeah,
did with Essex.
Karga, just buy the drinks.
Yeah, Olga just hands over the free gold.
Fine.
Right
And
then.
I'll lean over the bar and I'll say, and that'll be 2 pints for us.
2 pints of what you having.
Give us a good ale.
Right. Just something that I'd recommend, or are you looking for something specifically?
What do you recommend?
What's local?
Yeah, what's good?
Ooh, what's local? Right, well, we've got one that's brewed from down the road. That's about as local as you can get round here.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll give it a whole pint.
Right. Pint between you?
Well,
or
maybe
pint
a half pint.
Yeah, pint between us.
Pint between you.
Pint's a bit big.
Right.
Now, who do we have to talk to about around here about putting on a show for your fine establishment, and maybe your brave lads training those dragons up there?
As you see this, she's pouring the booze, and she starts off with the 2 half pints of beer, and she pours it out, and it comes out with a little bit of froth to it, but not too much. And by the time it's been put on the counter side in front of you, it's seemingly cleared out to this almost amber gold looking translucent liquid. It's not very thick, but you can definitely tell it's going to have a flavor to it. And she then immediately comes back with a bottle that appears to be entirely opaque, made of some kind of ceramic rather than glass. And she takes 3 little glass shot glasses and puts them on the countertop, and she puts 1 big drop into each one. It literally comes out as a single glug into each shot. As she said, 3 vapors of the desert, and a pint of ale split between the pair of you. That'll be 3 gold, and you know what? The beer's free because I'm about to have a show, I reckon.
Fair enough.
And she stands back, and she watches with anticipation as the 3 shot glasses filled with vapors of the desert lie in front of you.
I shall also, and you are welcome to join me in this, Bobby. I am also going to look upon Khadgar in anticipation with his 3 shots.
I was a bit distracted whilst photoshopping something.
We've got your drinks for you, sir.
We'll take the 3 shots and hand them out and look at both of you expectantly as he lifts his.
Oh, we got our beer, mate.
You're not going to back
Those are
out
yours.
on this now, are you?
At this point, the woman is.
I thought you were a big, strong dwarf. Can't you handle it?
She's got a big smile on her face as she looks at you.
No,
you're not whistling out now, are you?
I'm not drinking that stuff. Like I said, it's.
Look,
You're not whistling out now, are you?
We're wee little halflings. You bought those 3. As I said, you're welcome to your shots, and we'll have a pint between us.
God,
You can't deny the pub their fun now. Think of all the music you'll see.
I've got business to arrange now.
That his fellow bards who are backing out
We've
on
got-
something they said they'll do.
Mate, we've got business to arrange now. Not get slaughtered. Get slaughtered later. You know, after you've crashed and burned with the ladies again, you can get absolutely hammered. Me, I intend to be doing some hammering. And I can't be doing that if I'm half dead.
He looks at both of you in disappointment.
Also, we've got stuff to arrange. Go on, drink up, big boy.
He's looking at you in disappointment.
And we're looking at him in anticipation.
Holding my half pint going, come on, drink. Drink, lovely.
You know what?
Refreshing.
Algar's gonna snap his fingers and use Song of Creation to create some of that well smoke just around the table.
You're gonna Song of Creation a small cloud of the whale vapors, are you?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's see.
We're gonna get kicked
Right.
out of this town so fast.
It's only a small amount, just in front of Piper and Bobby.
Piper and Bobby, I would like you to give me a DC 15 Constitution saving throw.
Right.
Okay, so Bobby fails and Piper fails.
Hang on. Maybe not.
Oh. Are you going to lucky?
I'm gonna do a lucky. I want to pass this one. I've got plans. Let's do another one. We're good.
Alright, so Bobby fails and Piper succeeds. Do you guys remember what the effects of the whale cloud was?
Vaguely,
It was charm, wasn't it?
basically.
You are considered charmed whilst under the effects of it,
Mm-hmm.
and whilst you are under the effect, you are absolutely horrified by the idea of attempting to move. You can still take actions, move your head around, do things with your hands, etc. But anything that would involve you moving your center of mass away from its current position is just no. You'd quite happily stab yourself through the arm
No.
before you take a step away from where you are right now.
I was about to say, while I hate to drop a friend in it on this one, but I don't hate to drop a friend in it on this one. Khadgar has put a puff of this smoke next to us in a crowded bar.
Yes.
Has he put it in a position where it's going to be affecting other bar folk around us in order to avoid himself? Or is he also included in this, being in close proximity to us?
No, that is a very good question. I'm going to say Khadgar. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
$17?
Yeah, I'd say that's high enough for you to have been able to properly modulate the amount of this material that you threw out, just to make sure that it only affected your friends.
So
I actually have a thing here, and I just want to throw this out as something I'm going to suggest that I can do. And can I use this in any way, shape, or form to counteract the effects?
It's non-magical, otherwise I wouldn't be able to summon it.
It doesn't say magical, it just says mind-influencing effect.
It doesn't say magical, yeah. It literally mentions mind-altering effects, such as being charmed.
That's fair.
As an action, you can start a performance that lasts until the end of your next turn.
6 seconds.
If that said reaction, I would allow it.
Yep.
But no, I'm afraid.
But I can do it next turn,
would like,
I?
though.
So I can do it 6
You could
seconds
do it next
after
turn.
this has happened,
Yes.
and re-roll with advantage against it.
I would
You'll
like,
get the
though, to
reroll.
do
The
a
effect
performance
of this. Okay, before you do, Kiki, the effect once you fail lasts for 1 minute, and only dissipates if you are eaten by a whale. Until that time, you are considered charmed, and the effects of that charm are you do not want to move. You still have full mental capacity and functionality in every other sense. It's just, if anybody were to suggest the idea of you getting up and going somewhere else for the next little while, yeah, you will scream, you will holler, you will go through violent repercussions to ensure that you stay seated on that bastard.
I'm pretty sure when we used it in Vorpag, it also made people very happy.
There was a certain amount of suggestibility to it, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There was, yes, but that's more like a secondary thing.
All Cardgar's going to say afterwards is to both of them, just have fun and then knock back his shot. How they choose to interpret that's up to them.
Cheers. I will grab my half pint and down it. Or down a big swig of it.
I would like to step up and gesture to the crowd with a performance check and draw them in and point out to them, good sirs, ladies and gentlefolk, tall folk, short folk alike. This dwarf here, this brave dwarf has just purchased not 1, not 2, but 3 vapors of the desert and committed to downing all 3 of them. Anyone who wants a show, come and see.
Well, that gets a fair few people paying attention. You see a...
you know what? Can I bardically inspire that?
Go on. Kiki, do you want to roll Bardic Inspiration to enhance your performance check?
Yeah, please.
2d8, pick the one you like.
I'll just add a 5 to that.
Okay, total of 26. You get a selection of people all suddenly looking in your direction, some of which getting down from whatever seating arrangements that they are. You even see a couple of people begin making their way downstairs. One in particular peeking his head down from that stepladder I mentioned in order to figure out what the hell's going on. It's only a matter of seconds before the person whose head is peeking down from the floor above makes his way down the stepladder and walks over to the woman who served you the drinks and begins muttering something into her ear before she responds with an equally quiet muttering and a hell of a toothy grin. All in all, you end up with a small crowd of about 15 to 20 people looking in your direction, Cardgar, with a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. You get the impression that some people here know what you're about to drink, and other people are here just to figure out what everybody else is here for. Oh, one moment, please. Right.
Across the back of the bar, coming from somewhere in the crowd, a voice goes, "Drink, drink, 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 drink,
Carl's already knocked one back.
Yes. And?
Indeed, you have.
I assume Ginger wants me to make some rolls before anything else happens.
The vapors of the desert are a constitution saving throw. Due to the nature of you being a dwarf, you have advantage.
I think I also have resistance, but there we go.
Yes, resistance infers advantage. And with that, you see Cardgar begin to knock back one of these little shots of this almost iridescent liquid as it pours down his throat. Cardgar, you are immediately reminded of that intoxicating smell that wells up from the back of your throat and into your nose, and much like before, you begin hearing these little voices and sing-songy notes that have this ethereal nature to them. You are currently experiencing a bizarre crossing of the realms, and you are able to peer through the void into something. However, you are not entirely taken by this, as you are aware that you are surrounded by a crowd of people and 2 more shot glasses.
The thrumming chant of drink, 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 drink is met by an accompanying sound of glasses bumping on tables, and I'm hoping that I will get the rest of the crowd to start joining in on this.
It's not long before everybody else is going for it, and I would say that you don't need to roll spot that the man and the woman behind the bar are now looking with excitement and just the smallest hint of concern. Codgar, what do you do next?
Well, I guess the next one is awaiting.
Okay.
So, knock back the next one. Whilst staring Bobby and Piper directly in the eye, so they know that he will remember this.
Oh, but will he?
He just gives you a wry smile. And I guess I'd do another roll.
It's another Constitution saving throw, yes.
14.
Codgar, as you begin to knock back this second shot, you feel the material slide down your throat, almost rolling down the pre-lubricated nature of your esophagus, and as it hits your stomach, these sounds of whispers and music suddenly become more intense as you feel your grasp on the prime material plane begin to waver. The ability to view your friends sitting just to your right are slowly dissipating away, being replaced by swirling colors and musical notation. And it's not long before, as far as you are concerned, you are no longer present within the crown. What Piper, Bobby, and everybody else in the room see is a dwarf suddenly go catatonic as he kind of clouds over in his eyes and suddenly is no longer entirely present within the room.
I think a loud cheer comes up from behind the crowd, and I join in with the cheer as I hear
Yeah.
it. Way!
Piper will join in with some whooping.
Well, what I will say is, when this session comes to a close, I'd like to have a little one-on-one chat with you about what Cardgar experiences as his body processes not one but 2 shots of vapors of the desert.
I would also like to slyly tuck away that other shot for use later.
How? It's an open shot glass? You can't exactly shove it in your pocket.
No, but you can like fold it to one side so the top's facing upwards, and discreetly hide it in your palm as you walk off somewhere and pop it in the parlor.
Okay. I'm going to say roll me a sleight of hand check. This definitely has advantage because of... Yeah, I'd say you're able to effectively palm the shot glass, make it disappear, if you will, and at least for the time being, as far as everybody's concerned, the 3 shots have been consumed. Odd that there are only 2 glasses left. So you've successfully managed to... You've managed to successfully render Cardgar, shall we say, incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
And as that happens, you see the gigantic breasted woman walk over to Cardgar, and she looks him in the face, gets up close to him, snaps her fingers in his face a couple times, and says, "Yep, he's out. Vapors did its job. Right, show's over, people. Everybody get back to your seats." And everybody kind of gives one last cheer and then disperses. That's me. Oh, that's me again. Right, so.
Good point, eh, Bobby?
Oh, absolutely. Lovely beer. Thank you. I can't remember her name. Did she give us a name?
She has not yet given you a name.
I will summon her over and go, we're going to need somewhere for him to stay the night, because I don't know if he's going to be playing tonight. Now, is there a good inn around here? Are you a good inn? Is this a good place to... Can we stay here? And other questions.
Afraid not, little man. We used to give drinks on board, but now it's just the drinks.
Right. Yes.
The once rooms are now a second place for drinking, she says as she points up.
Fair
Old
enough.
hubby sorts the top floor, I sort the ground floor.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you know a place that is a good, reliable, decent, clean, etc. place where we could crash for the night?
Yeah. There's a place on the other side of town. It's and by other side I mean across the road.
Okay.
Fun thing about living in a little place like this.
Yep.
Right, you wanna go that way, take a left, and just keep going until you find a really fancy looking rose on a sign. That's the Dragon's Rose. It's a lovely place.
Dragon's
run
Rise.
by a friend of mine, actually.
Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. And again, I asked before, we got sidetracked. We kind of want to put on a bit of a show. As I said, we're bards. We do a bit of the old song and dance and so on.
Right. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Find it pays for our adventures as we wander around around the world. Are you up for us to put on a performance here, or do you know of a good venue that would be a good place to?
Well, normally I'm in charge of the entertainment, but if you're saying that you want to give me a day off, then sure. I'm sure I can figure out some arrangements there.
Fair enough.
How big your tits?
Tiny, as you can see.
Ah, shame.
Yeah. Not really the type of show I put on. I mean, hold on a second. How about this though? I can do this. And I'm going to conjure up the biggest pair of tits that I can as a minor illusion.
Right.
Right on the front of me. Give them a bit of a wiggle.
Yep. I've seen those, but they don't jiggle, do they?
No, they are kind of stationary. And it looks a little weird on a little beardy guy like me. Some people like it. The dwarves seem to like it. Odd folk.
Look, they got their own thing going on over there. They don't all have beards, but apparently the ones that do, they think they're really hot. I don't get it. Beard on a woman just makes me think.
No. Yeah, we're all no. But as I said, we do pretty good songs. We also do a bit of illusion magic and stuff to augment the songs, shall we say? Put on a good old show as much as we can. Would give you a full demonstration, but one of our party is now currently speaking with his own personal gods or something.
Yeah. I don't. Okay. Do you know what happens when you take 2 shots of Vapors of the Desert? I'm guessing that you don't know what happens when you take 2 shots of Vapors of the Desert.
I know what happens when I take one, and it's that, or at least it's what I assume that is. That might be more, but it was definitely I was in a bad way. But I'm only a little fella, and I don't have a constitution of a dwarf. Those guys can walk around in poison, and go, oh yeah, it was a bit itchy. Me, I'm half dead.
Yeah, sounds about right. So, I did 2 shots of Vapors of the Desert once. Took one, thought, ooh, that's all very nice and fluffy feeling. Let's go for another. And, well, let's just put it this way. I'm pretty sure I died.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Mm-hmm.
Oh, give me just one moment. Earlier, I closed my door. It just opened itself.
Ah.
On.
Demons.
Ghosts.
Yes. So yeah, she continues saying, your friend right there, if I had to guess, what he's doing right now is he is having a good long conversation with something that would quite like to eat him.
Mm.
Or maybe he thinks he does.
Yeah.
Look.
You know he just tried to use magic to make me take one of those shots, yeah? He deserves everything he gets. Well,
I think you deserve to have one of those shots, to be honest. After pressure him into one of those.
He's already done it to me once before, and I said at the time, never again. I'm a man of my word.
Alright, okay. So this is a revenge plot, is it?
No, not about revenge
Right,
exactly.
then.
Just a bit of, He knows
I mean,
he
it's
can
funny.
Yeah, exactly. He knows he can hack it. He also knows I can't. I'm good after 2 halves of a pint. You know, I've got performances to do, and we all know what beer does for a man's performance occasionally. Well, I like to be on my game.
Right, well, if you're looking to put on a bit of a show,
Yeah.
if I had to guess, tonight's a bit short notice, but I will check with old hubby upstairs in a moment. If he wakes up and starts screaming, don't be surprised when someone comes over and throws him out. That will happen. Back in a moment.
No worries.
And she, you see her walk off and make her way up the step ladder and around the back, and about takes a minute or two. You see her make her way back downstairs again, during which Cardgar has not moved even the slightest hint of a hair. He is completely still. And she arrives back and says, right, tomorrow night, we reckon that you'll be able to do something. What do you need? Apparently I'm in charge of making sure that you put on something good.
Right, what's the crowd like around here? What kind of vibe they got?
Well, let's just put it this way. They like it when I am in the room, and otherwise they don't really pay all that much attention to things. Farmer folk, you know.
How much do you think they'd like it if there was more than one of you in the room?
Ooh, that depends. Are we talking a real one that they can touch, or a fake one that will go straight through them?
You can do a bit of both on that one.
Well, if you can make a version of me that they're allowed to squeeze, then I'm sure that'll go down a treat.
I mean, I can for one customer.
Just for one?
I mean, they can pay extra.
Roll me an insight check. Specifically
Okay.
you, Kiki.
Okay. That's the parlour. The parlour doesn't want to roll an insight check.
No, I don't think the parlour would be very good at an insight check.
Apparently, neither am I. Actually, I get advantage on it because I get to re-roll it because it's
Halfling.
a 1.
Flip again.
Insight. I'll have an 8, please.
As she says, just one customer as a question, you get the impression that she's alluding to something. But she quickly moves on and says, right, no, I don't think that'll be very good. Not if you can't do anything physical. Let's say you're music people, right?
Yeah.
The vibe from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Song and dance, bit of rock and roll, etc. Can I roll
There's
an
a spot
insight check on that one?
upstairs. Yeah, go on. I'd say that's high enough to be able to spot that when she was asking if when she was asking only one customer, she was implying that she might be that customer.
Oh.
She wants to squeeze herself.
Oh. Well, I'm just going to go, are we talking about a bit of girl on girl action here? Are we talking, you like, I just get the feeling we're not talking about a punter. He says quietly.
Her eyes quickly glance to you for a moment before she leans right into you, getting putting herself in such a position that her face is next to your ear, but your face is right next to her cleavage, and she whispers, "There are some things that a woman would love to experience."
And I'm going to look straight
Before-
into the cleavage and go, oh, I can imagine. I can imagine a fair few things. There's a few things that a few guys would like to experience too. I
But
think
she,
I know what
she-
you're after. I might be able to help facilitate that.
She backs up after saying her little piece and says, "Right, well, that's all very interesting. What I reckon that we'll be able to do is get you set up on the first floor rather than the ground floor. I reckon the acoustics will be a little bit better up there, less echoes, and yeah, we'll be able to arrange something. If you can be back here again in about this time next day,
Great,
I reckon that'll work quite nicely."
great. Well, what we'll do in that case, in the meantime, we'll go and cart this one back to the other inn and get ourselves set up for the night. And then we'll spend tomorrow just sort of making a bit of noise about what we're going to do, about us making a bit of noise tomorrow night. See if we can't draw up some customers.
Right, well, let the lovely lady over there know that I sent you. Her name's Judy. We
Judy? Okay.
occasionally exchange stories. And
Okay.
let her know I sent you the
You know
way.
what? In all of the excitement, and there was a fair amount of excitement, I'll tell you that, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, right. Name's Elizabeth Cardy.
Elizabeth, I'm Bobby. Robert Plant, or Bobby to my friends. This here is Piper. And that lump of dwarf on the table over there snoring is Cardgar. And we've also got a friend Essig. He's about somewhere. He's been feeling a little bit off colour ever since we blew him up the other day. But he
All
got
right, is he
better.
one of the? Is he one of you short stacks, or is he something with a bit more length to him?
Elf. Half elf?
Elf?
Half elf drow
Half
thing.
elf?
Yeah.
Oh, he's one of those darkies, is he?
Yeah.
Interesting. Never seen one of those in person.
He's all right. Like I said, he's been feeling a bit under the weather recently. We had a bit of a to do with a wyvern back at Donheim, and there was a bit of an explosion, and he got a bit blown up, and so we had to kind of resurrect him a bit. And he's been feeling a bit under the weather.
Blown up, eh?
Yeah, like splat a bit. And so we sorted him out a nice dwarven nurse, beard and all, who came and gave him some rest and recuperation.
Sods! You didn't get him whilst he couldn't defend himself, did you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that explains him, she says, pointing at Cargo.
So he's been a bit quiet since, and so has he, sort of.
Right, well, you lot, get going. You got a woman over at another place that needs to sort you out with some rooms.
Right.
Just to let you know, the other place, the Dragon's Rose, they don't do booze. That's our thing. We don't do houses. That's their thing.
Right. Okay.
Okay? Just so
Fair
that you know.
Fair enough.
Come back if you want to get sloshed. If you want to have a bed to sleep in, that's speak to Judy.
Judy it is. Right, okay, I suggest we carry Cardgar out.
That's going to be an athletics check from the pair of you.
An athletics check.
I'm fully expecting
We're
you to be unable
good
to
at
move
those.
Mitchell.
didn't even achieve a combined 10. All right. You are just about capable of dislodging him from his chair, and then
Are
no
they, though?
further. And after successfully pushing your unconscious friend onto the ground with a thump, you see as Elizabeth looks over the bar and just tuts in your direction and says, right, Marcus. And you see the same exceptionally burly human man come around the corner and looks at you and says, all right, hard or soft? And she looks at him and says, soft this time, please. And he walks over to Cardgar and huffs him up over on his shoulder and says, going to Judy's, I presume?
Yep.
Right, so. And he starts walking.
Smashing.
It's not long before the man Marcus has made his way over to the next place across the road. It's a wonderful looking establishment. It's unlike the rest of the places, which are a mixture of stone and wood based architecture. This looks like it may have once been constructed entirely by dwarven hands. It's a tall it's a 3-story tall building entirely made of stonework, and as a result is a literal level higher than most of the other places in the small town. And upon making your way into the door, you see as Marcus places Cardguard down in a chair as softly as one could place a unconscious dwarf, and then says, looks at the pair of you and says, right then, anything else?
No,
He
that'll
says-
be that. Thank you very much, Marcus. It's much appreciated for the lift.
He looks at you for a moment and then says, you sure?
Is there anything we can do for you? Do we need to tip? I'm going to tip him a gold for the inconvenience.
He as soon as you pull the gold piece out, he happily holds out his hand and accepts it, and then says, very good, very good. Looking forward to seeing the show that you put on tomorrow night. And don't you worry, if anybody comes near you, I'll make sure they don't. And
Much
walks
appreciated.
off. You get the impression that you probably just paid some level of protection money.
That's fine. Don't really need protection money, as we well know. We are very capable, but never hurts to have a bit of muscle on the door. Someone to go, oi, less rowdiness, bonk on the head, drag them out. Always handy.
So, after Marcus makes his way out of the building, you see a blonde-haired, tall and slender-looking woman who looks like she might have a little bit of elf in her somewhere along her ancestry.
Uh-huh.
She approaches your party and says, I'm gonna guess that old Lizzie sent you over.
Yeah, our friend here had one shot too many. Just funny, he only had two shots. And
she takes a step over to Cardgar and, in a thorough violation of personal space, opens his mouth and sniffs his breath. And then steps back after a moment, licks her lips, and says, right, yep, that's a gone man right there. So, how many rooms will it be?
I think 3 rooms for the night. He wants some personal space, and we need a room each.
Right, okay, sure.
And yeah.
She saunters away from the three of you and gives you a beckoning finger as she makes her way behind a ledger. And as assuming you follow along, she
Oh
says,
yeah.
"Right, and will it just be the rooms? How long will you be staying? And do you need food, or do you have all that sorted already?"
Oh, a bit of food would be lovely. We've been on a boat for the last week, and it's been a bit, fish, a bit more fish, etc. Nice bowl of soup for a moment, but yeah, a nice bit of grub would be lovely. What other services are you offering? I mean,
Well, you get the food, you get the bed, and well, you wouldn't happen to be somebody who's getting their wyverns, are you?
getting their wyverns.
You're not part of the Stradivarian military?
Sadly not. No, we're not really military types. More song, dance, and performers. Um, Whip the old lute off my back. Strum quick tune. Do mini performance, etc.
Ah, right, okay. Well, we do offer additional services for those who are first getting their wings, but if you're not them, I'm afraid we offer food and board.
Food and board will be lovely. Thank
Bit
you.
boring, I know, but we can't just go offering the extra services to anybody. It has some degree of exclusivity, after all.
Oh, of course. No. We'll be fine with that. We just want to get our friend back into commission there, and I believe we're putting on a bit of a performance over at the Crown tomorrow night. Hop over. You might enjoy. Tell your friends, etc. We were actually pretty good. We were a huge smash in both Volpak and Donheim. And, well, everywhere we got, actually. Good, people quite enjoy our performances.
She gives you a bit of an interested look, but with one that you can tell is definitely she's trying to play the role of the disinterested person.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to tell if it's a performance or if she's genuinely on the fence as to whether or not she's actually going to turn up. But she does then follow that up by saying, "If I can be there, I'll be there. I'm sure you'll spot me. I'm a bit taller than most of the folks around here."
Difficult to miss a lass as lovely looking as you.
Well, don't you have a silver spoon in your mouth?
Grin. Right. Let's get this one up into a room so we can sleep it off. And
she makes her way over to Cardgar, and she whips out a small book and starts chanting something. You can tell she's casting some kind of magic, and then all of a sudden this bizarre, almost rippling disc of energy appears on the ground immediately in front of her. And she looks over to the pair of you and says, "I'd appreciate a hand."
a hand, you say? Mage hand.
I'll produce an unseen servant to support it.
She looks at that and just gives a exasperated sigh and says, I mean, I can't push him off this chair myself. I'm sure the three of us working together can manage it.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm going to get the
I've
spectral
got
hand to give us a hand pushing him off as well.
I've got a better idea. Hang on. I'm going to drop a couple of spell slots, and I mean we're going to bed anyway.
Yep.
In fact, I will drop the lot and have a army of unseen servants puppeteer him.
All right. Well, I will say that you are able to recognize the fact that when she started chanting, she summoned a floating disc, which I'm pretty sure is a bardic spell as well, so you would be able to recognize its effects. Basically, she has summoned what effectively amounts to a magical disc capable of supporting hundreds of pounds worth of weight, with the intention of just simply pushing Cardgar onto it so that he can be transported to his room via magical means.
Fair enough. We can
But,
give her a hand shoving him onto the disc.
With a small army of unseen servants and at least one mage hand, you guys are able to all work together in getting him up the stairs and to a room.
Okay. Whilst we're doing that, the moment she's the moment she's finished, I want a word with Piper before we leave Cardgar alone in the room. Because
Alrighty.
I want to suggest we should probably take any mirrors out of the room. You know how he's, we don't want to give him a shock if we just take any of the mirrors out of the room that may be in here. Because I think he needs some makeup on.
I was about to say, I was wondering what you were going on about with the mirrors. I thought you were on about demons or something. I was thinking we ought to draw some faces on him.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, actually I'm thinking sort of more somewhere between Twisted Sister and Kiss.
You really are a fucking cunt, you know that.
I am a terrible person to get drunk and unconscious around.
I mean, what are we talking about? How far do we want to push this? Do we want to go for like semi-permanent, last a day or so, or do we want to go the long haul? Because we could just shave off half his mustache.
We're not shaving off his mustache. You know how dwarves get when you when you do the shaving off of the mustache or the beard. They get very, very upset. No, I just thought maybe very, very white face and some big black, bat wings over the eyes or something.
But they get really snotty dwarves, don't they? When you mess with their hair. We had that time in the Shire. We shaved off half of Billy Bigfoot's mustache. We took the other half of his beard. He looked like half of a checkerboard.
Yeah.
And he was in good spirits.
He laughed like he was roaring with laughter about it for days. Thought it was hilarious.
But you do one dwarf.
And it's the end of the world. He's touched. Yeah.
Oh, have a blood feud in response. No, yeah. It's hardly proportional pranking. You're right. Yeah, we should just. So I reckon something. I reckon we get some inks and dye some stuff on. Yeah.
Essentially, Cardgar is going to look like Gene Simmons after you finished, if we do it right. But right.
Do I have? Now I have proficiency with disguise kit. Oh, it says query. Hang on.
Well, if you don't, I certainly do.
Oh, okay. In that case, you do it. I will use my disguise kit proficiency to assist and give you bardic inspiration.
Excellent. So if I do my disguise kit with a bardic inspiration,
And advantage, because I'm helping.
it's 1d8, isn't it now?
Yep.
So a 28, I think he's going to look pretty kick-ass. We'll put some streaks in his hair and everything.
Oh.
So black and white streaky beard and moustache, and the whole Gene Simmons kiss bat wings thing over the eyes. I think it suits his look anyway.
I think it does. I think he'll actually be really pleased, given that he hasn't thought to try it himself yet.
Right? He's gonna wake up. He's not gonna realise it at first. People are gonna go, "What the fuck?" He's gonna see it. He's gonna go, "Oh, I quite like that. That's funny. I like that. That's good. I'm gonna keep it." Or he's gonna get pissed. But you know what dwarves are like. He needs to loosen up. So is
Right then.
28 good
Oh.
enough to do a good... I've posted a good image in the thing.
I'd say so, yeah. You can use the disguise kit in order to recreate that image. Want to go ahead and put it into the stream so that the audience can see?
I will do that, yes. Ooh. That's our bits. There we go. That's what we're going for. Cardgar. It'll be a bit more beardy, obviously, because he's a dwarf. But yeah,
Is that Gene Simmons right there?
I believe that is Gene Simmons. Yes, or someone that's really gone for looking like it. It's difficult to spot Gene Simmons with the makeup, to be honest, because
It's one of those things where
it is
anyone
all
in the
makeup.
mask.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that is very
Speaking
definitely Gene
of-
Simmons' tongue, of all things to recognise. But
Do
yeah.
you dye his beard?
Oh yeah, absolutely, black and white. Give it the whole
Right,
Pepe
okay.
Le Pew skunk look.
All right.
And his hair.
fair enough.
We're going to go the whole hog here. He's going to look great, actually.
Just bear in mind, this is getting dangerously close to PvP at this point, so don't go too far.
This is just a makeover, at best.
I mean, as far as I know, Cardgar's not aware of any of this, and he's not just asleep, he's out
Yeah.
for the camp.
He's out for the count. He's off
I don't
talking
think-
to angels
I
and
don't
demons.
think it counts. If this counts as PvP, then when Trig got Coates' corpse answer question would also count.
Yeah. This is
All
just
right, well.
this is just a step up from shaving off someone's eyebrow whilst they're passed out on the sofa, which, you know, let's face it, we've all done that.
Although, probably a good idea you decided not to go with shaving his eyebrows or beard.
Well, we know dwarves get a bit precious about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, you give him a new look, and then what? Go to your rooms and go to bed?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Righto. Essig obviously finds his way to his room as well. And
Sure.
you, I assume the halflings are sharing a room, given that you ordered 3.
Yeah. I hadn't actually counted Essig in there, but yeah, sure.
I mean, we only really need the one room. Piper doesn't really need one.
No, she can.
Yeah,
Just
the way I picture it is, you order 3 rooms. Essig goes to a room, Cardgar goes to a room, Bobby goes to a room, and Piper goes into the same room as Bobby, but then goes into her own room.
Huh.
You know, just for the sake of raising questions.
That's fair.
So, I'm going to have to ask you all to roll me initiative.
Initiative.
Hmm.
It's an interesting one to roll.
And that's going to be one from you two, Cardgar.
Oh, okay. So Forrest passed out.
Well, apparently you
Oh,
are.
goodness. You know what? I wasn't keeping track of things since we were about to go to sleep. Have we achieved our long rest before this happens?
We've had many long rests on the boat before we got here.
I know, but I burned a load of spell slots on unseen servants.
You have.
All right. Well, no need to worry about that. Kiki.
Yeah?
You and Bobby come to consciousness at roughly the same time as one another, and you pop out of your parlor and presumably see Bobby in a state of near readiness for the day.
You mean I'm standing in my underwear in front of the mirror, going down,
Yes.
pulling various poses, etc. Yeah, the usual.
But with that said, I mentioned that I want to go over with Ez the nature of what he experiences with, you know, his out-of-body experience.
Fair.
So, Ez, I'll leave this up to you. Do you want this to be discussed in a private call, or do you want it to be discussed in a way that everybody else can hear too?
Right. Is this stuff that you don't think other players should know? That's my only question on that.
There's nothing wrong with them finding out, but it's something that you, as a player, might want to keep secret.
I don't mind either way, I guess. And
I mean, the question there is, do you trust us not to metagame?
I think you guys know better than to metagame.
I mean, I've trusted you guys to not metagame the talking penis thing, because it would just be, you know, difficult.
Indeed.
Yes, it's easier to just be out and open with the whole thing and go, but your characters don't know that. That's not. Yeah.
Right then.
So true. Do you have to use the phrase out and open when talking about your penis?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Just wonderful.
Anything to make it moderately uncomfortable.
So, Cardgar.
Yeah.
Upon seeing the last vestiges of reality drift away from your reach, you find your consciousness entering into a state that is difficult to describe. At first, it feels as though the very sense of self that is Cardgar whittles away slowly like a snowman in summer, gradually melting away until only a memory remains. But then shortly afterwards, the very essence of the man that is Khadgar reconstitutes itself rapidly and with an increased degree of both vigor and resilience. And as Khadgar the dwarf is once again made aware of his own existence within this reality, he finds himself drifting in what can best be described as an empty planetarium. In all directions you see small points of light as if they were stars of a night sky. Only in all directions the sky is not black, but instead with a slight bluish haze to it, intermittently stricken with streaks of purple and green in a way that simply evokes a sense of impossible awe. And as Khadgar finds himself in this situation, as soon as he realizes that he once again exists, that is when Khadgar suddenly becomes aware of the music that surrounds every inch of his being. There is a cacophony of sound coming from instruments that are impossible to describe, like the voices of angels. Think the ringing of a bell, except there is no distinct beginning or end to the notes. Instead, they simply continue on in a way that drifts up and down melodically as this song plays. It's not long before Khadgar is able to begin picking up on patterns within this music, and these patterns evoke thoughts. Concepts begin appearing both in the mind of Khadgar and also flashes of potential objects appearing within the periphery of his vision. At one point you begin to understand that some inherent aspect of this song represents the very concept of energy itself, and in that moment you see for the slightest hint of a split second, the very core of a star just out of sight, just beyond where you're able to see it, and the moment you go to look, all you see is this purple, inky blackness, this night sky surrounding you once more. These flashes continue to apparate and disapparate in your immediate vicinity, with you always feeling as though you are on the cusp of grasping onto something new, some innovation, but it always slipping away like a dream. It's at this point that you realize that maybe you should try something. What does Khadgar do whilst he's in this scenario?
He reaches out for his ear splitter, his guitar, and he tries to harmonize with the notes.
As you reach around to where the ear splitter is usually affixed to a strap upon your back, you bring it round and forwards to yourself, but as you do so, you hold in your hand not your trusty axe guitar, but instead a small black statue of a sphinx.
Okay. I will examine it.
You recognize it. The sphinx appears to be the same one that you found in that cave. The one that appears to have answered you when you spoke to it. Do you remember what was said?
Yeah, I'll say it again. I vow to seek the song of creation.
And as you say this, the head of the sphinx turns and looks at you. And in this moment of the statuette evidently becoming alive, you blink and let go of it in shock, and suddenly before you there is a sphinx of impossible size, literally the size of mountains, staring at you from within this otherwise empty void. And as it stares at you, it says, "And find it you shall." And it's at that moment that you are suddenly shocked awake again and realise that you are in a bed.
Okay. I will grab some paper and a quill and do my best to replicate as much of the music as I can remember. Write it on as notes.
As you go to write down this music, you find yourself being incapable of actually finding the right notes to be able to put to these sounds. This music that you heard in this dream that seems to be losing its purchase within your mind. The only thing that you can think is that there is some aspect to it that is not possible to convey with the musical notation that you are aware of. And you are immediately brought to the conclusion that if you are to learn the true song of creation, you must first learn the language in which it was written.
Am I able to use a minor illusion to try and replicate some of the symbols of the language, so I could maybe use it to show some wizard or someone to help me identify it later?
You don't know what that language is. You don't know what this new form of musical notation might look like. What you do know is that it exists. This you know for as sure as the fact that the sun will rise this next day and that you are a dwarf. These are facts in your mind. And you know that somewhere out there is an entire language that, were you to learn it, you could apparate into existence more than just simple things. Yes, you are a bard of creation. You have the ability to manifest into this reality through the power of song, physical objects. But there are so many things in this world that go beyond just physical objects, and you have just figured out the first step necessary to be able to figure out how to unlock this wider pantheon of reality. You found the first step of the path, and now all you have to do is figure out how to follow it.
Okay.
I'm going to get some stuff typed up for you. And I'll sort that after the session.
Okay. I guess Carl's gonna run out of his room and just call out to Bobby and Piper, just kind of ranting, raving about what he's discovered and what he's learned, and he's really excited about all that.
Right, sir. I would say that happens at roughly a couple of seconds after Piper steps out of her parlour and spots a half-naked Bobby admiring himself in the mirror.
Nothing new there. Except, yeah, I'm normally not up. Anyway, yeah.
Wait, really?
What?
Is that really what Piper steps out to?
Yeah, I'm just, yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna do this.
Right.
Oh
Did you?
dear.
What are you doing, Kiki?
Oh dear, I rolled a 19.
Oh no, what do your halfling eyes see?
Yes.
Bobby, is that what I think it is?
I'm in my underwear. I'm not completely naked.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. With a 22, she might see an additional bulge.
Oh, I will turn around and went, yeah, you remember that ring? Well, it didn't fit on any of my fingers. It was too big. But,
So, Codgar, do you knock before you barge in with your ranting and ravings of inspiration?
No, I don't. I don't know what room they're in, do I? So
Right
I'm
next
kind of
door.
like,
You hear their voices.
oh, if I hear their voices, then I'm kind of like going up down the corridor, and then I just kind of like heavily knock on the door, like almost pushing the door open. I don't know if it does open the door. I guess maybe strength check.
sure, open the door. It's not locked.
Do it. Do it with the strength check and get a nat 20 and throw the door off its hinges.
24.
All right. Codgar opens the door with such force that you cause the doorknob to be embedded into the wooden wall immediately to its side. And you quickly barge into the room and see a mostly naked Bobby with a presumably fully clothed and ready to go Piper standing in semi-shock.
I've got like mid-sentence. Guys, we've got to find it. Oh, put some clothes on. We don't have time for this.
Are you kidding?
We need to go find. We got to find the language of creation.
I'm looking in the mirror and going, there's always time for this. The language of yeah, okay. Are you okay?
I mean, I've got used this funny creation to immediately dress Bobby in some summoned clothes, and just said, "Come on, we gotta go."
Dude, I'm not wearing these. What is this?
You're just being dragged out of the room now.
All right, that's going to be competing athletics checks right there.
I'm not even going to try and win that. I'm just going to allow myself to get dragged out of the room by a very scary looking card girl. And a fairly scary acting card girl.
As for what you're wearing, Trig, think cacophonics.
Think what?
The bard from Asterix.
Oh, God.
Okay, I need to Google image search this now.
Yep, you do.
Ah, right. Okie dokie. I see this.
a fair revenge, but I will be being marched down the stairs, going. I'm not going out looking like this. I look like a clown, more of a clown.
Parker just stops and looks at you and kind of looks at you to imply what's the difference.
Give me a second. I can get dressed in just 2 minutes. I need to go and put my own clothes on. We've got a performance tonight.
He just looks a bit impatient, but lets you go.
Fine, I'm going to go and get dressed because I'm much as we all like a bit of asterisks in our life, occasionally. Yeah, it's not exactly Bobby's look.
Apparently, it is now.
No. Besides, that's a liar, not a loot.
Are you calling
What was
Cardgar a liar?
Yeah, it's just Lyre, the lyre. It's like a little mini harp.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Well, you have one right now, at least for another 3 hours. So
I am actually proficient with the lyre. It is one of the 3 musical instruments I can play. Not me personally. Me personally, I can't play a damn thing. I am awful at all music. But lute, lyre, and dulcimer are Bobby's.
So, guys.
Yes.
I think that given that we are now half an hour into tomorrow, that we should probably call it a night here. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Yep.
You guys have travelled from one town to the next. Cardgar has become proficient as a chef. You have figured out that there is apparently some degree of extremely lustful barmaids within the town of Nordshire, and there is also a degree of heavy militarization within this little town.
Yes, and apparently she's lustful for a bit of her own action, which is
Indeed.
interesting. Don't know how we're going to do that. Maybe we can a bit of serious illusion and I don't know.
Phantasmal force.
Really? Huh.
She feels it all as if it's there,
Okay.
and she sees precisely what she wants to see. Well, we want her to see.
Do we have to be present whilst this is going off?
What's the range of phantasmal force? It's Let's have a look. I'm going to post a wall of text because that's what the spell is.
Yep.
Is it within visual range? I craft an illusion that takes root in the mind of the creature that you can see within range. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, you create a phantasmal object creature. Cubed. It is perceivable only by the target for the duration. The spell has no effect, and the duration is for how long? Up to a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we're gonna have to burn through some spell slots to leave that running for a chunk of time.
Right, so, does anybody have anything that they would like to ask? Any points of address they want sorted before we call things for the night?
Nope, seems good.
right then.
I will end the stream at this point in time in that case. And bid everyone a very pleasant evening, etc. There we are.
Indeed. Anybody who may have been listening, have a nice night.
All right.
Indeed.
Goodbye.
Violence, VIL has been with us the whole show. Like,
Yes,
so-
she has. She's been enjoying it, it seems.
Yes, very much so. There's a lot of comments in the chat bar. Always a good sign. Good night, everyone, and we'll see you all next week. I'm going to end the stream.
Good night, everybody.